right, third time is the charm. We are back, everybody. Game between Blinn College and RIT. We had to restart because there was no stream delay. Can't have that. Gotta have competitive integrity here. So we get to see a different submap. Gonna be starting on Control Center.
Actually plays a little bit into Blinn College's hands, as they will play the Reinhardt here as part 2. And this time Rochester will be forced, I believe, to mirror it. So we'll see how that turns out. Of course, we've already talked about how Blinn College likes to run rush and or sort of a, I guess, more of a brawl aspect. Yeah, which means that, you know, they're right in their home turf. We'll see how well Rochester can live up to that expectation. A team that can run this composition, make no mistake about it. However, of course, not their most comfortable pick.
No, so it's gonna be a test to see how well it goes up against Blinn College. It's gonna be a complete mirror as well. Both of these teams likely gonna get to the side ground at just about the same time. Damage going in. We see Jinja taking a backwards position here as a lot of damage coming in their way. Mortality Field has to be used as well. Jinja continues to find the high ground, but in the meantime, Knuckle Bunny gets a pick on the Choco Man, which is severely gonna limit the damage going in to Blinn College. So RIT's backing off just a little bit, but Sweat is low, only capable of being picked off. Knuckle Bunny is taken out though by a trap, so RIT should be able to push back in on this pretty aggressively, taking out the trap as they get there.
A little slow and fair, because Blinn College back up pretty significantly despite having about equal player setup, and with the amplification matrix, they do get the point, maybe a little too late.
Yeah, the Immortality Field came out to try and save Vader, but that was not what ended up happening. Gonna be a trade there after that pick, but that's still gonna favor Blinn College at the moment, or rather RIT, who now has control. Still maintaining control of it. Jinja goes in for a Shatter. Blue Jay with one as well. Neither one gets a pick off of it. Jinja forced to back away a little bit as they continue to take damage. RT continues to hold on to the point, especially after this sound barrier that's coming from Actual. Being there quite a bit faster than Knuckle Bunny, but Blue Jay finds a pick. Swef is going to counter with one. Still though, RIT has the point. Swef finds another one with the Rip Tire. Blue Jay goes in as hard and as deep as they can. That'll be it for this possession for RIT.
Extreme skirmish goes on there. RIT just not able to. The big thing there is that as that skirmish goes on, if you're going to use a sustained resource like the sound barrier, you need to win the fight out cleanly. Unfortunately, Rochester can't convert on that, and despite Knuckle Bunny being behind in that resource, now when it comes down to it, this fight is going to have the sound barrier, and you expect that to kind of be a difference maker, especially with Essel's Rip Tire being eliminated by Sweat from afar.
And Sweat strikes again, taking Actual out, so RIT isn't going to be able to disengage or engage quite the way that they wanted to. Team Helium working overtime to keep Blue Jay alive, as just now they've gotten back to their armor.
I mean, Rochester is going to try. This is a tough fight for them, this one upcoming, right? Perhaps around a photon barrier just to mitigate damage, but realistically, you have to expect they're just going to try and get Blinn College to overspend resources.
And already we've got both photon barriers coming out. Sweat finds Zessel this time in a trap. A lot of utility still available to Blinn. They're already winning this fight, so they don't have to expend that much more as RT backs away.
That's a fairly cheap fight, actually, and consider you trade photon barrier for Rochester's. I think Blinn's okay with that. They are trending towards that final fight territory now, though, so this is a critical fight for Rochester to be active in. They'll open up with an Ant Matrix.
Well, yeah, and also tried to throw in a lot of damage to that shield, but Sweat picks them off from an off angle. And now, again, advantage here for Blinn College. RIT, I think, is going to try and take their time as much as they can, but they've got to push in quick.
I mean, it's really up to Blue Jay here. Blue Jay has been a tremendous tank throughout the regular season. Going to have to be a big difference maker here to turn this round in their favor.
They're going to use the TP to get to point. Vader falls, but it's going to be a strike back onto Essel as well. Overtime has been committed. Here comes the Rip Tire from Sweat. No sound barrier in from Actual. They're going to have to use the Immortality Field, but it is not there. Everyone steps off the point. Blinn College takes the first map.
Good first round for Blinn College here as they get through. And I mean, aside from that one fight where a little bit untidy in the sort of extended skirmish that kind of occurred towards the start of the round, aside from that, Blinn College, you know, showing why they are a 7-0 team, looking pretty confident in this first round in terms of their approach. Yeah, I think an expected start here. And still, one thing we have to highlight, though, on top of all this, a little asterisk, that is not Rochester's best composition. RIT,
right,
does not really excel at the same rate that Blinn College does in that mirror. So now that we head to a round where it's going to open up the playing field just a little bit, you have to think this is where Rochester is going to be looked to make the biggest difference for themselves.
Blue Jay comes in and tries to disrupt that TP onto point. It's unable to, and pays for it with their life as nobody was there to support them. So Blinn College will come away with an early possession here. Essel just trying to get a little bit of damage while they wait for their tank to respawn.
I mean, Essel has to be very careful. You can't just go in for free here on the Pharah.
I gotta wait for that disruption coming in from Blue Jay. Take a bit of damage. They get a lot of shields, but they're gonna be first to scurry away. Recall has to be used by Chaka Man as well, so a lot of utility is gone right now for IT. Blue Jay falling once again means Blinn College gonna cruise to another fight win as long as they play their cards right. But Swift gets caught out. This is an opening, and Blue Jay has just respawned, so as Varsity takes their time, they could come back in with a fight win here.
Ooh, nice couple taps from Vader stepping in there. That's that mid-range damage buff showing up. I think Actual is attempting to go for a resurrect here. Not quite able to in time as Jin just steps into the courtyard.
Yeah, they're going to be able to prevent that. And fortunately, RIT, I think, just playing a little too aggressive at the moment. They need to bide their time, make sure they're going in with a full set of players. They got a couple ultimates coming on board here. A pulse bomb could be big. Nice boop off the map, though, from Essel. That'll open things up. Essel has a lot less to worry about now, so they'll be able to put in a lot more damage. But speaking of damage, those turrets doing some work from Swift. They're going to be able to get the photon barrier up. It's going to cause problems for Essel. Might not be able to use this barrage now that they've been patiently building. They're going to go for it anyway, but the immortality field and the photon barrier are going to be able to save their life, and Jinja comes away with 2 bigs. So Blinn College cruises to another fight win.
And on top of all of that, this has been such an extended fight that we are in final fight territory. Blinn has done an excellent job of staggering this game through and not really allow RIT that clean setup. Essel going to switch off of the Pharah now over to an Echo. Definitely more assassination capabilities, but not as much pressure on the backline. And in fact, none at all, as Essel gets taken out with some nice clean combo play between Vader and Hutch.
And that's brutal because 90% on the board here is going to be RIT's last chance to move in, and Essel likely going to be getting to it late, and with Chaka Man having to use recall as well, that's not a lot that they could do. Blue Jay jumps into the fray, drops a minefield, but the sound barrier is there. Vader now clearing to the point with the Deadeye. Overtime has ticked over. Essel touches the point at the last second, pays for it with their life. Chaka Man does find Hutch. A lot of healing is gone, but it's not going to matter if no other players are left. And Swift is taking care of business left and right for Blinn College. It will take Lijiang Tower 2-0.
And it really felt like Blinn started to warm up a little bit further towards the end of that second round, right? The truth is that first round was very, very awkward, I think, for Blinn, even as they won it 100-47 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it still felt a little haphazard in its approach. And the second round showed a much cleaner Blinn. You know, really, even against that, the Wrecking Ball and the Pharah, which plays a mobility, but there's a lot of poke aspect to it. The fact that you're able to isolate the point, keep it under your control for so long, despite not really contesting the aerial threat. I mean, a lot of credit to Vader, specifically hitting those shots consistently, even with the pocket. The Pharah Mercy was not able to stay alive in the sky, and I mean, between that and just some well-timed extensions on fights, Blinn lead that to 100-0, giving themselves map number 1 in pretty quick order. And a thing to highlight too is that we are still in a 1-3 scenario here, Jungle God, and with that being the case, I mean, a first map start where a control map at that, mobility can be quite strong, now takes a lot of agency away from RIT, and even though it's going to be their map selection here for map number 2, they're running out of room to make errors.
Yeah, and quickly. So I think this map choice is going to be of paramount importance. We are going to be going to a hybrid. Personally, I think in my opinion, I think a lot of the just straight up payload maps might be a bit more better suited to a ball composition. So I think we're going into something tough here. Of course, King's Row, everybody's favorite. Wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're going to see. But given it is RIT's choice, I think there's a stronger chance we're going to be headed somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think this is sort of the calculus that RIT is making as we speak, right? There is very much a case of how much do we play where we're comfortable, and how much do we change up. Keep in mind, at this stage of the game, I don't believe RIT has selected more than once the second map. So this is an interesting insight into where they feel the most confident on as a team in hybrid after the control map. So I'm curious to see where that getting into it for the stuff. I think I don't expect King's Row, and in fact we actually just got confirmation it's not King's Row. Paraíso is where we head to next. And first of all, breath of fresh air. It's not the most standard map in existence, but two, because we haven't seen this a lot, we don't know what Blinn is going to run. We don't often see on this map a ton of Reinhardt, and not to cast Blinn in a box, they have flexibility, but have they showed is this going to be the Winston from them? Is it going to be something else entirely? That yet we don't know.
Yeah, I think the Winston is a pretty likely guess, just given the just how much high ground there is, especially when we get to the streets of Paraíso. First point as well, certainly. But at second point, I think that's where really these kind of high mobility compositions and especially tanks are going to thrive. So my money is on the Winston. I think another good option is the Sigma, of course, just kind of poke away at things, especially when we look at first point too. There's great kill box on point that you can just poke away from above on, but only time will tell.
It looks like Blinn is going to be on the defense here first.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait for full selections before I make any sort of grand sweeping statements. So far, I mean, Blinn College, this is an anti-dive setup from them, right? A lot of protection in the Matrix, the Discord Orb, obviously, so good at punishing, and then the Torbjorn. I mean, especially with the tart so far back, it's so hard to destroy that it provides some natural pressure on flankers, even as you play the fight elsewhere on the map.
And there's nobody who really has that great long-range damage either. I mean, maybe the Zen, maybe the Ana, but and the Genji to some extent, but Blue Jay and Chaka Man really are going to have to get close to it. And we can see Blue Jay actually diving in towards that backline, but it's going to eat a biotic grenade. It's chased down by Jinja relatively easily, so this first engagement was going to say just about over, but a couple of picks in favor of RIT certainly going to make things a little different, especially considering the respawn advantage.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate that Jinja had to be the one to chase down the Wrecking Ball because there's no DPS that can rotate that fast. And that left Vader open to the dive as Jinja was on the reapproach. Now on the back flank, by the way, Choco Man's still lying in wait here. And, well, I was going to say trying to chase down the supports, but Swift will make quick work of them. And so I think Rochester at this point, they need to reset. RIT, they can't allow themselves to be staggered out here. And without your Tracer, you don't have a full aggression, especially into the Torbjorn.
Nice anti-nade, though, coming in from Maxwell. This is going to end up getting a whole lot done. Now Blue Jay dropping back. An opportunity to come in here. Hutch finds Blue Jay again. And honestly, they're having a very difficult time staying alive here on ball. They just keep getting caught out one way or another. If it's not by Jinja, it's apparently by Hutch.
I mean, the desync from the dive is pretty apparent here, right? They're not going in as a 3-player execute. It's 1 by 1 by 1. And that's allowing Blinn enough time to get those breakthroughs, right? It's going to be Choco Man sending in a pulse bomb wide. I mean, now you're looking perhaps in a nano, trying to build up to a blade. The other thing, too, is Blinn has been winning these out in the neutral. So no ults committed whatsoever. And with an explosive setup from Rochester, Blinn will have everything they need to respond.
Does go in for a dive. Jinja does get DMAC, but they've got the self-destruct to get back in. That's going to be 1 DPS down from each side. Molten Core now on point, which is going to make it a lot harder to contest. That comes in onto Hutch. Able to confirm that kill, at least at the moment. Essel does eventually find it, so point will go to RIT. Took him 2.5 minutes, though. Certainly not forever, but not as quick, I'm sure, as they had hoped.
really scattered defense from Blinn in that last fight, actually comboing. I mean, the self-destruct was used to get back in mech, and then the most important, actually find a ton of value, and then and then just trying to keep everyone alive in play. Still a recontest from Blinn. They want to take this fight back.
Oh, wow. And they're going to be able to take out Blue Jay and Actual with a nano boost onto Jinja. So 2 3/4 a tick come in for RIT, but they're going to be sent packing back to spawn, and now they've got one more shot at this.
That is a very lackluster setup for a recontest by RIT. Not really expecting it, I don't think, and get caught sort of looking. Now, I mean, perhaps a Nano Blade they're going for here in the final moments. There will be a Transcendence. The only person who's like under the most threat then becomes Hutch. In that one, it's, I mean, with 250 HP between Sweat and Vader, in a Transcendence, you're not going to get a kill here with the Dragon Blade.
Whoa! Well, if Knuckle Buddy can't get to you, Essel will be able to get a couple of kills in. So, fortunate for the positioning there from Blinn College. RIT does come away with a point, but it did take almost all the time that they had to start.
Yeah, you're gonna have to set up for now for the second phase. Defense gets afforded so much natural high ground here that we'll see how Rochester's gonna have to be hard pressed to break through it. Essel can take one fight on a duel with those two characters, but not both of them together.
Yeah. Jinja actually going down very low. Backs out at just the right minute to get healed up by their team. There's actually been, I think, a couple of instances where Jinja has gotten very, very low, but RIT just hasn't been able to demech him, and I think that's been the difference maker in several fights. Apparently that recontest that we saw on first point. But in the meantime, RIT getting picked apart here by Blinn College. Swift does fall. I think that's going to be the only that we see there in favor of RIT.
Nice clean pickups there. We also got the DMAC too, so maybe Jinja slowly trying to farm back up.
How's it going?
Is coming back up on a blade, but Actual is lagging very far behind with his nano right now. So this might have to be a Jive blade. Toggerman has swapped over to the Sojourn as well. Already built up an overclock, so be significant moving in. Going in for a dive now, but the Discord's going to land on them. They're going to be forced to back out pretty quick, but in the meantime, there's enough damage done, so Toggerman is able to find a pick onto Vader. Jinja dives in, going to be able to push them out with Discord on them. They're forced to back pretty extensively. Essel tries to go in, but Swift catches them out too. So again, the dive from RIT has been stymied, and with a minute to go, they are running out of options.
They will at least get the Nano Blade, and we saw how effective that was the last time around. Even through the pretty hefty health pool, the Discord Orb coupled with that damage throughput is pretty tremendous. This is going to be a reset, though, for RIT. They cannot be sticking around here.
No, and Blue Jay using the adaptive shields, too.
Liam. Liam trying a little bit of an aggressive posture and nearly gets punished for it, but a reset. The problem is this, Blinn has everything they need, and so even as Essel comes in with a Nano Blade here, he can be zoned pretty easily with a self-destruct, you know, never mind the Transcendence. It's a tough place to be here.
They are going to be able to find Vader relatively quickly. They dive in on Hutch as well. It goes down, so 3 quick picks from the DPS. Swiftos eventually find Essel. Nano has been committed to them as well. They back off, though. They're going to have one more recontest, but RIT has made progress.
It's actually really incredible that Essel got so much value out of this Nano Blade, despite, you know, the position, the target selection has been incredible. See, by the way, Blue Jay has made a switch over to Diva, kill into that former fight.
Remains to be seen which value it's going to have. Deadeye coming out here from Vader. Defense Matrix getting in the way, but not long enough. Blue Jay has been D-maxed too. It's going to be a quick cleanup for Blinn College. RIT gets it close to third, but not quite far enough to activate that next point.
Yeah, a lot of progress earned. Essentially, all the progress RIT gained was off of the Nano Blade, though. And to only get 2 combos of those in 2 points is pretty tough. But we'll see. I mean, Blinn College, you know, what does their offense look like? This is not an indefensible distance that was earned by RIT. It would have been nice to get that checkpoint, sure, but I think there is a very real possibility here for RIT, especially with how hard first point is to actually aggress into. There is an opportunity for sure, and for RIT, I think the other thing to highlight is that we're going to have to see if their composition stays the same, right, or if they've got a different look in play. Obviously, I don't know that the Wrecking Ball was going to ever come back on the defense, at least not on first point, and so far it looks like RT elects to go to the Diva. But in general, you can absolutely make this sort of aggressive defensive setup work.
And I think with the Diva, it's going to be maybe even a more defensive defense setup, right? With the Wrecking Ball, you're certainly looking to, I think, play more proactively, engage a little bit more aggressively, but Diva definitely a lot more utility in terms of defense for the team, right? Defense for the backline. They're going to be going up. Looks like, yeah, Jinja's going to stick with the Winston. That will cause problems potentially to Ussel, considering that defense matrix is not going to need any help with that Tesla cannon firing. Blink College takes kind of a wide angle. Looks to kind of set up this first dive here. Left trying to pressure out Diva, see if they can get some of that defense matrix down. Scored Orb as well onto Ussel. Swift forced to back off as they're wearing one of their own.
It's a lot easier to sync up dives with this composition from Blink College as well, right? There's a clear go button when your Winston jumps in.
And with the follow-up 2 from Vader, that kind of assassination style, I think could play out very, very well for them. Not a whole lot of time to react. And again, the beam, right? Blue Jay not going to be able to do anything about that beam coming in from Vader as well. Here comes a big dive into the backline. Liam Helium deleted his scored Orb on him, plus Tesla Cannon and the land. Chuckerman does find Knuckle Bunny. Actual is eventually chased down, so no more supports here for RIT. Blink College, they come away with the point.
A pretty large time bank too, and because of this clean fight setup, I don't know that RIT is going to get a recontest here on first either. Right, there's that second tick in progress. They're already posturing, moving forward, trying to get any forward stragglers that even think about contesting, so that still has to be real careful there. Does chase away Vader.
And Blue Jay is going to stick on the Diva. Vader and Jinja is still going to be a problem for him. Meantime, Knuckle Bunny wins in the Zenyatta duel. That's ahead. Liam Helium. So that's putting a lot of pressure, too, on Blue Jay, forcing him to back up on that high ground, but the high ground still being controlled. For the moment by RIT, now Jinja making a case for it. I think they give it over to Blink College, dives into the backline a little bit more because they've got a primal rage and they don't know how to use it. Taking out Actual immediately, chasing down Genji too, which is not an easy target to find. Doing a decent job of it, but force themselves to go back to point. Take a lot of damage though, that Discord Orb helping tremendously, so RIT will be able to hold here, at least for the moment.
A little unfortunate that a couple breakpoints didn't get met. Ussel got so very low, but Ninja not able to kind of follow up. Blue Jay, a great read, by the way, on that fight. Recognizes that dive is coming in by the Primal and instead goes forward. They take out one of Blinn, and Blinn can't have their DPS follow through on the engagement by Jinja, so push kind of withers away. Jinja also going to make a change down to Zarya.
Yeah, that's going to cause, I think, even more problems here for Blue Jay. Ussel coming in with another Nano Blade. Fine touch right off the bat. And consistently been able to find at least one of the supports, and most of the time too. Jinja puts a lot of pressure though on a vessel. They are able to back away and stay safe. Blue Jay even coming out better of that duel quickly with Jinja too.
This is a really tough fight for RIT though. Duplicate into Nano Blade, and Jinja very close to Graviton Surge at this rate. The supports will have to work overtime to try and keep people up. And there's just way too many tools to come through. Picks like that are going to help a ton, though. It just delays Blinn. Ooh.
And Senna's forced out a Liam Helium, though, early without a ult coming in. Means Swift's Nano Blade could be free, but the Nano isn't delivered. Blade is cut short as Jagaman finds them. Everybody from RIT actually turned and looked at him to help get that kill.
Yeah, but now, I mean, this is like going to be one of the explosive fights for Blinn. They're likely going to nano Jinja, I think, into the Graviton Surge, and there's no Transcendence this time around. So the only defensive utility against it is this Matrix.
Yeah, Blue Jay's gonna have to be on it. They're gonna need to eat this Graviton Surge, otherwise, like you said, this should be a one fight. But Vader going down means Blinn has to back up for a moment. Essel, though, that's a big trade. This could be the go button that Blinn College has been looking for. Blue Jay getting on the high ground. I'm sure not to get too close. Unable to save Actual as well, so Blinn College has a golden opportunity here. This is just one more fight. They can win it with this Graviton Surge.
Yeah, for sure. And nice aggressive posture here from...
Ooh, the self-destruct to try and clear things out. Here comes the grab. Jinja gets a pair of them. F5's Liam Helium Actual has delivered the nano. Here's the blade onto point just as quick as they can. Able to stall it out for a moment, but that's all it's gonna be. Blinn College takes map number 2.
And that is the map pick of RIT disappearing from them. They got one more opportunity here. Blinn College, though, they're up at match point at this stage of the game. And a much closer map, sure, but in the end, it felt somewhat inevitable, and more that Blinn was just moments away from getting victory at any point there.
Yeah, good showing from RIT, though, especially on the streets defense. They seem to kind of get things together there, find their footing, put up a good fight, but it wasn't enough. And honestly, I think a lot of the difference came down to the composition as well.
Yeah,
I think that Blinn College made a lot of really good choices and limited the effectiveness, honestly, of the Diva pick.
Yeah, I mean, truly we have to talk about the fact that on the offense, 2 fights came through from Nanoblade, and that's the only 2 fights that were realistically earning progress for RIT. And you know, were they effective outside of that? It's tough to say yes. And so as we head into map 3 in a moment, you have to kind of wonder, is there an opportunity here for RIT to perhaps turn fights based off of less combos, even, you know, try and make one fight work rather than, you know, dumping 3 or 4 ults into it and try and push it forward. So I mean, that's where RIT have their work cut out for them.
As well, we're going to be moving on to a straight up payload map. So a couple of map choices I think come to mind. Most immediately is going to be Dorado, but we're going to have to wait a couple of minutes. We're going to throw to a short break. If the players have a moment to get some water, stretch their hands, stretch their legs a little bit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. are back and ready to head into map number 3. Gonna be Blinn College up 2-0 over RIT at the moment, looking to close out this series. Myself, Jogger God, on the desk with LaFon.
Yeah, and I mean, this is I think an expected scoreline to be at right now. RIT is a little disappointed that the way we got here is this one-sided, even after their map pick. But I think, you know, in essence, we're looking for RIT to make a comeback here in map number 3. And we should highlight, again, this is the conference championships. You know, winning this gets you into the playoffs, which is what Blinn has really been gunning for its entire regular season. Meanwhile, RIT looking to try and prevent themselves from dropping into sort of that last chance qualifiers, you know, aspect of it, being forced to play a couple more games. So, yeah, I think Blinn has been the better team in this series so far. But RIT has not been without moments of you know, having highlights. So as we head into escort, to the payload payload map type, this does, I think, open things up just a little bit for them, right? They haven't really been able to get the wrecking ball online in a big way. Perhaps here, whether they go to the Sigma or they go into the wrecking ball to kind of force that aggressive mobility, they really need to get Blue Jay into the thick of things. Hasn't really been able to take control of the game like RIT has in the past, and that has certainly been affecting them a little bit here in this round.
Junkertown, though, a great place to do just that. Definitely gonna be a playground for Wrecking Ball. In fact, Jinja gonna opt for the murderous mecha hamster as well. Usually coming out, trying to scope things out, catches Jinja. Gonna be able to alert the team to them, or they turn their focus elsewhere. To clear out Jinja, which gives Chakaman an opportunity to kind of get on that high ground and start dueling with Vader, who wins that one. Beautiful headshot. Peek is all they needed to find that head. And Blue Jay going down very low, going to be forced to back away, but Essel does find Swef. Chakaman swapping over to the Tracer as well, certainly going to cause a lot of problems. Beautiful tracking there by Jinja, almost able to chase down Essel, but the deflect going to let them live.
Ooh, Essel Bunny finds Chakaman on the flank as well. That is a really tough dive from RIT. Ooh. This is a really awkward setup. Being forced off of the Widow means that realistically the only one who has free damage onto Vader are sort of the supports, who are being harassed by a lot of the time by Jinja and specifically Chakaman. The thing though is, or rather Essel with a deflect, the thing that is the issue here is that no one can really get onto the flank for free because of that Torbjorn, and that makes Vader essentially uncontested here and able to pick off shots at will and at range as you kind of cross an open field. So Blinn have really set their Widow up for success here.
Ooh. Chakaman has recall forced out as well, so this next dive is going to be tough. And Jinja poking away a little bit. Hit with a Discord ore, but it's going to back away. Also going down very low. Chakaman looking to finish him off with a slam. Or Jinja, rather. Doesn't quite find it. And Essel, in fact, is going to be able to cut down Jinja. So without Wrecking Ball creating a lot of opportunity here, Essel's going to be free with his Nano Blade, which was their key to success last time. Lucky Buddy does find one. That's not going to be enough. So the cart will make some progress here for IIT.
It all starts with Jinja overstepping their bounds just a little bit. Gets punished for it. Now he's kind of stuck. He has to be careful not to be taken out here. Ooh. And that's a great steal on the health pack by Essel.
Yeah, that was huge. Jinja has to back out a little bit more than they wanted to.
And they give it the point.
Yeah. Great forward play there from RIT.
Actually a really nice whip shot by Hutch, but it's not going to keep him alive for very much longer.
Ooh. Blue Jay almost lives there. Jinja comes away with the take onto Essel as well. Chakaman does land the pulse bomb, so RIT is hurting. But considering I believe there's still Blinn's still waiting for one to return, RIT isn't in necessarily a terrible position. Leap Dart gonna go wide though, so Jinja's gonna be free to just hammer away at the back line, which they do until that Discord orb causes them to back away a little bit. Blue Jay just dropped the minefield as well, gonna go back in. Spots for Gita. That's gonna push him away. Not gonna be able to stay too long again because of that Discord.
A lot of oh, nice little stick there. Forces the recall. RIT has been slowed down tremendously here now. They need to kind of get in on a duel here. They can't just allow Blinn College to exist in this sort of flanking state for free. That's a good start. Vader no longer able to poke. And then it's immediately traded back though.
Knuckle Bunny has been tremendous so far today on this Zenyatta. There's so many picks. And a lot of them, honestly, I think have been onto Essel as well. So yeah, already he just forced to back away. But they build up a nano again. Essel's going to have the blade again soon. And again, like you said, I mean, that's been 3 blades that have been wins here for RIT. And I think out of the 3 fights, 3 of the 5 wins they've had have been due to these blades.
Now, Blinn has just really not been able to space themselves or use resources to defend against it. Early rally here, just trying to isolate Essel specifically. Doing a good job of it. They force Transcendence too.
Yeah, that's big. Now, Minefield from Jinja, a Pulse Bomb from Vader. A lot of things got to get the job done. And with Essel falling, RIT is going to have to wait once again for this Nano Blade. But Liam Helium this time finds Vader in the back line. Going to punish them for maybe staying a little too long. Pulse Bomb does land. Jinja goes down to about half health. And Knuckle Bunny, again, Knuckle Bunny has been tremendous on this Zenyatta. Jinja going to drop the Minefield as well. But I don't think it was needed in that scenario.
3 out of 5 kills there to Knuckle Bunny, rather. Final blows at that, too. The Zen doing a ton of work. Nonetheless, an expensive fight for Blinn College. RIT, considering they've been able to use the Nano Blade to get things going, this is an expectation you're not even needed. Jinja and Vader both taken down. And all of a sudden, Blinn have to kind of head for the hills.
Yeah, that's going to be enough space, one, from this fight, you know, even if they don't get any more picks, to put them in last fight territory, right? They just need to win this next one. They've got the Minefield. They've got the Nano Blade. By rights, this should be theirs. They can use the Minefield as well to maybe even bait out Transcendence early on. This is going to go up onto that high ground there, but Knuckle Bunny holding on to the Trance at least for the moment. Blinn College has dropped to the point. Holding on to it there. Here comes the Trance. The Nano Blade has been delivered, but this time, no value going to be gotten from it. Swef as well puts the Molten Core down. So with that, RIT is going to have to, I think, regroup and try again, but they're almost out of options here. Short of a big Pulse Bomb. Not much left.
Yeah, that being the fight that they needed to win, RIT now puts them in a really tough position because we head into final fight territory. 30 seconds left, and Jinja even surviving for so long. And this is resources that can be put onto the back line for Blinn to chase down the sports.
Liam Helium on a life support here is able to get to Omega, force the Transcendence as well. Now they're going to push the fight back to point, but Hutch is there with the rally. It's not going to be enough, though, to save Swef. So RIT has an opportunity here. Jinja is back into the fight. They have dropped the Minefield, but they're about half health. Still enough, though. They've got the armor. They can stay on a little bit longer. And now Blue Jay finds Hutch again. This is still RIT with a little bit of an advantage, but they need to transition this into a fight win. Jinja, very little health, just a little bit of shields now at this point. But he does find Liam Helium, but it should be enough here for RIT to see third.
Such a scattered fight, and now we enter into the hardest part of the map in terms of being able to capture it. It changes from Blinn College, nothing. Okay, RIT returned to the Ana here. It's just Essel with a blade. In fact, the only player in the map who has an ultimate at the ready. The Traces will be following up shortly after. But this is going to come down to dive execution, I think. Jinja already trying to clear the high ground. Not really as successful as perhaps they would have liked.
Yeah, that grapple could be fickle, especially up here on the fidget spinner. Essel's going in actually with the dry blade. Not going to even wait for the nano here and get some early value from it, but Turret actually pushes them back. Now they're... Alright, he's caught again without a clear win condition. Maybe this Pulse Bomb. Again. There's no Transcendence here, so if it lands, it could be big. In the meantime, though, Knuckle Bunny again with a kill on Essel. He defines Liam Helium, too. So, RIT, a little bit worse for wear, is going to back off.
I mean, now it's a tough because into the minefield, into the Molten Core, there'll be a Transcendence for sustain. The Blinn here. They're going to be able to bleed time off the clock. Keep in mind, RIT, even though they have sort of the mirrored resources, they're approaching into the objective, and so Laying down the minefield defensively, much more valuable. That's a nice stick to open things up, though.
That certainly is. Liam Helium forced to use the trance. That's actually going to help clear the minefield quite a bit. Knuckle Bunny responds with one of their own. Swift lets loose with the Molten Core now, which is going to make it very hard for IT to contest this. Nano Blade, though. Nano, rather, happening here for Essel. Quite enough to get the Blade, but it is going to be enough to take out Swift. So a little bit more progress here gained by RAT. And Helium finds Vader, too.
Blue Jay down. No, that's tragic.
Ooh.
So now you're down to a 4v5. Well, a 4v4, but the respawns are so much closer after Blinn. Hutch with a nano boost as well. In fact, the only one that will have an ultimate here in this, what is to be the final fight.
And Knuckle Bunny with a great position as well. Jinja does find Liam Helium. Point has to be touched. Nobody can get there. RIT does make a significant amount of progress. I think this is the best we've seen them look so far here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally by number, they have gotten more points on this second map than or the third map than they have any other stage of the game. Will that be enough is the question. And I mean, Blinn more than willing to completely mirror their opponent and look about as good, probably a little bit better than RIT, which is tough because, you know, I think in this situation, RIT opening up with their best composition, still not able to isolate and completely shut down Blinn in the mirror, is a tough admission that Blinn perhaps has a better control of this style than RIT does. And now it all sort of hinges on your defense. How well can you slow down Blinn College to draw the time bank out and perhaps eke out a victory here in map number 3?
They did have some success back on Paraíso, especially when we got to the streets phase. And that was when Blue Jay was also on the Diva. So now that they're back on the Wrecking Ball, I think this defense could be even better than what we saw there. But only time will tell, of course. And at the moment, at least, Jinja hovering over the Diva, which has been very strong pick for them so far.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Vader's still on the Widow here to open things up. I'll grapple there. Oh, that's tough for Blue Jay. And these trades are actually really bad for RIT. Keep in mind the spawns are so close.
Yeah.
Nice little combo there from Jinja on top of it all, and yeah, that's a first fight easily won by RIT.
Hey, yeah, Blue Jay just stayed in way too long there. When you're out spawn like that, it's a team like Blinn. You just kind of want to get in and get out.
That's a lot of damage onto Blue Jay. That's half their HP gone already before the fight's even really started.
Yeah, fortunately though, did not use the adaptive shields, which is big. Gonna look to aggress, I think, back on Vader as soon as they can, but as soon as they can isn't soon enough as Essel is taken out once again. So Blinn College is just picking away at RIT almost before they're even ready, right? The scouting phase hadn't even finished yet for the dive.
I mean, the big
And
problem is
Blinn
because
already won
Blue
the
Jay takes
fight.
so much damage on the approach there, it forces everyone on RIT into no man's land, right? They can't engage because they're waiting for their tank to be healed up, but that's time that Blinn is going to keep progressing the payload. And that's time that's going to allow Vader to line up a shot. It's a tough place to be.
And now the cart is right at the precipice here of completing point number 1. Essel taken out again. Vader seems to have their number, and Blue Jay can't seem to stay alive either, so Blinn will get to see second phase of Junkertown very quickly.
You have to wonder if there are changes coming in here for RIT. They really don't have any presence, right? Again, it's the margin for error is so incredibly thin that this is all. Keep in mind that all these engagements, because they're so hairy, this has been Blinn using nothing to get there. Even this dominance has entirely been without ultimates, and now as Blinn College getting them online, RIT has to be very careful not to get snowballed here. A snowball on second would basically end the map, because then you have, you know, 4-ish plus minutes to get through third. Ooh. And not even the entirety of it.
Well, the Discord orbs have just been tremendous. Jinja is able to eat the pulse bomb as well. Stuff gonna let loose with the Molten Core. Gave a lot of map presence over. Knuckle Bunny once again finds 2. This has been the Knuckle Bunny show today.
bit of an ambitious attempt from Knuckle Bunny, but even still doesn't get taken down. Some great peel by Jinja and Hutch combined. That's the second point. That's a second point earned. A minute 30 added to the clock here in a second. They're going to be above 4.
Yeah, which is tremendous. And not only above 4, well above 4. Right. They have taken very, very little time in. RIT, they're just not even able to set up a defense really at this point.
And I mean, this is Rochester. This is a must win for them, and they need 5 more after that.
There's a Nano Blade. This time, SL able to find Hutch relatively quickly, but the Transcendence is there from Knuckle Bunny, and Vader finishes them off, so it's just going to be an even trade. Blue Jay drops the minefield on point. First victim going to be the turret, but that might be all they see. Chuckaman does find Vader, but Blue Jay forced out of the fight. Doesn't seem to matter, though. They are able to get at least one hold here.
Yeah, that was the expected fight outcome, especially because the Nano Blade was on a target that was far away from the Transcendence, so a good read by Essel. And yet RIT have not really slowed down the cart. It still is making a little bit of progress, so now we're in a tough position where RIT, they have a Pulse Bomb, a Transcendence, and not much else.
It doesn't necessarily have a lot either. The Nano's going to go on to Knuckle Bunny. Vader does find Liam Helium in the meantime, and left going down low. Blue Jay able to finish them off. Essel whittled them down. Going to be able to find Hutch as well, so nice fight win here from RIT, and crucially, they get out the Nano too.
I'm just going to try and get into the DMAC here and make sure they don't get staggered out. I'll take this fight. It's really good pacing here from RIT, though. Because they won that fight, because they shut down Blinn College, has been more than willing to kind of extend into these engagements. They've actually gotten up to another Nano Blade, and critically, it doesn't really matter. There's no even with the fact that Transcendence is a possibility. I mean, Essel has been able to cut through it before, so very much a real opportunity here for RIT.
One core going to be put down on point. Essel finds no value with that Nano Blade, so Blinn College in a wonderful position. Finish out this map here as they're waiting for the respawn. Liam Helium does have Transcendence, but actual going down means there's not much left for them to do. Somebody is touched the point. It's going to be Chuckaman. They throw down the pulse bomb, but Transcendence is there. Not going to be quick enough, though, to save Vader. There's 2 meters left to go. 2.5 minutes to get there. Now Essel eats a biotic grenade on the high ground as well. Swift does fall, but Essel's going to be picked off too, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Now Jinja's diving in back to point. He's going to let loose with a self-destruct. The minefield finds value. Blue Jay goes down, though. 0.18 meters to go. RIT manages to hold on.
Have to reset here, I think. RIT, yeah, with the delay, not able to take down those players that were so very weak. Wrecking Ball will be able to respawn and contest, and Blinn has been spending a ton of resources trying to get this one going. They have not been able to get a true clean fight win. I mean, now we're in believable territory for the whole. 2 minutes left.
RIT has to come away with this, otherwise they are going to be going down. The last chance qualifier with a pick on the Chuckaman. That's certainly a great start here for Blinn. Vader going to go ahead and pop the overclock. 3 players down. Nobody left to contest. And that'll be Blinn College with a 3-0 sweep over RIT here in the conference championships.
Tremendous performance by Blinn overall, though, as they continue their flawless run, by the way.
Yeah.
Now sitting at essentially 8-0. 7 through the regular season, once more here. And I mean, Knuckle Bunny, a difference maker throughout the map entirely. Yeah, that was 3 final blows in the fight, and not one-shot final blows either. Like genuinely taking down, you know, the basically the full HP. So yeah, tremendous performance. Blinn expected and performed, and a team that has grown a ton, not just over this season, but over the last year or so. Looking to make big strides, I think, and yeah, a well-earned victory here for Blinn.
Yeah, and very happy to see them back on stream again. I mean, I think this is actually the 4th time we've seen them now, LaFon, right?
Yep.
And so for any of you teams out there who think you're giving things away by getting on stream, cut that out, because Blinn right here is proving you wrong today. I mean, they have been performing so well here in the Daystar League. It's just been an absolute pleasure and joy to watch them. we are going to throw to a short break. Hopefully we'll get an interview in here with somebody with Blinn. Otherwise, we're going to get the next game up and running. Don't go anywhere. Regardless, we will be back soon. It is time for game number 2 of Overwatch 2 here at the Naystar League Conference Championships. My name, Warren Jungle God Hammond, joined again on the mic by LaFon, and this is going to be, I think, this is honestly one of the matches I've been most looking forward to today. We're gonna have Boise State going up against Edgewood.
And listen, we are in the conference championships at this stage of the game. We have a lot of teams that have performed incredibly through the regular season, and no difference here as we get set for this one. Again, a team that is undefeated coming into this. Let's jump right in. Let's take a look at the rosters right away, right? Because this is an opportunity to kind of see where they're coming from. Boise State, looking to be a team that gets into the championships, get into kind of being that championship team. As is sort of expected from them, right? And Edgewood, I mean, 6-1, but trying to be an upset, a dark horse potential here.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be Boise State as well. Got to mention they were the fall champions, right? Able to take the grand finals out there in Philadelphia. So all the expectations on them, right? To come away, they are certainly going to be the favorite in this matchup here today. But this Edgewood squad is one that has really impressed me time and time again. Both in the spring split and in the fall. They play, and almost exclusively, they play this Balfara composition, right? And so I think this is going to be the biggest test that we have seen of them to date, right? How are they going to fare against one of the juggernauts in all of collegiate Overwatch, that being Boise State?
And listen, this is where I think this is where you kind of have to make your name, right? This is this composition that is being run, right? That wrecking ball, it's so dependent on execution a lot of the time that any downtime, any limitation in your approach, and you get exploited, you get exposed for those flaws. So there's no room for error here. And in a high stakes match such as this one, we're really looking for clean engages, clean dives, and follow up in that sense. So while yes, the pressure in the sense that the pressure to repeat is on for Boise, I think they definitely have less. Their margin for error is a little bit greater in match, if not, if we kind of remove the out of game sort of situation. And so I'm really interested to see how Edgewood approaches this with that in mind.
And one thing I think we all have to be grateful for is we're not heading to Lijiang Tower first. It's going to be Ilios to start things off. And while Lijiang Tower, great ball map, right? One of the best. Ilios is exceptional at as well, right? Ruins with those long sidelines, of course, it begs Widow to be played. And Wrecking Ball, a dive composition like this can shut them down. Of course, the Pharah is going to be an issue if the Widow does come out. Or rather, Widow will be an issue for Pharah, that is. So there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot at play here. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces, and this is definitely going to be a very, very fascinating match to watch.
Here's how well, especially though, it gets played out. Because while there is that map hazard, right? The pathing for the wrecking ball is actually pretty tough.
It is.
That's probably the one that I think I have the most questions about if we get there. Interesting. Yeah, Ruins is pretty good. Lighthouse is also really good for the Pharah, right? There's a lot of verticality you can kind of work around, but this is a map that I think is very interesting when you look at it from a mobility setup, right? The angle from which you kind of path is pretty tough to take control of.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people expect to be a very strong map for ball, but it is very awkward. Right, of course, when you're ball, you're thinking, and with you're thinking environmental kills, right? But it's actually incredibly hard to set those up in the well, and more often than not, I feel like it's easier to find those kind of environmental kills on the coast, right, on the side, because people just aren't expecting it there.
5, 4, 3.
Looking like we're getting a mirror in the DPS department. I expect to switch off the Symmetra here into Sombra. Okay, this will be tough for clear. You see those interrupts come in. Matt marked over to a Tracer for a little bit more poke. Or a little bit more pressure rather on the flank.
See both of these teams just kind of poking and prodding at each other at the moment, looking for some kind of an opportunity, some kind of an advantage. James goes down early, though. Arguably, I gotta think it'll be a little bit tougher to deal with. The hack comes in on the Lyric to try and prevent the res coming in the meantime, Boise State taking control of the point. Luke getting pressured out pretty hard. Goes down to very little health. Bobbers has fallen, so after that, Luke finds their demise as well. Boise State has the point. They will win the fight as well.
Yeah, no resurrect, but you don't really need it, because without the healing from James, it puts a lot of pressure onto Sariel. And keep in mind, this is a high mobility composition. You're not going to play on the line of the site of Ana while you're getting a ton of fighting done. You know, it's tough for that setup to come through. So you now get into a situation where, I mean, Boise State are in fairly decent position, holding with Afara. Probably a little bit of an easier task than being poked away by than trying to approach into it, especially with Ana dealing damage from afar.
Ooh, Aganam going down early means that the Eagles, yeah, gonna be forced to back up and try again here.
They're actually gonna change compositions here. I think Luke's switching. Being forced off your comp early is not a great sort of marker for the future. Yeah, EC Eagles there. He decided to kind of change wholesale here. They don't even get that kill on the hack target here. Goblin staying alive as Mattmark takes down Backingham. And now, I mean, the Edgewood College are getting stalled out here to final fight.
Yeah, they are. 67% accounting with James falling as well. That reset, that respawn just gonna be even longer. Goblin does get hacked, but again, the follow-up just not quite there. Now, Serio falling as well. Robert does take out Goblin, but rest should be there. Does come through.
This has all been in the neutral too, right? This has not been any sort of setup from Boise State. This has just been slowly grinding down the bank with these isolated duels. Mattmark going for a pulse bomb. That one will stick. The Suzu's not in time. Edgewood are down a player here as its final fight.
Eagles will backcap though.
Yeah, but it's a formality.
Small lease on life. Yeah. Bobber's getting taken out. Here comes the EMP, but Goblin going to be able to handle it. Chosen finding James too, but he going to be able to touch the point. Quick win here on well for Boise State.
I mean, it's not. The other thing too is that Boise State, their performance here, I think, is not to the caliber that we necessarily expect from them, right? That's the other thing too. I think this has been a good round from them, but not the cleanest we've seen. And so being forced off your composition this early is a really tough thing to see if you're an Edgewood College kind of supporter here. And I mean, the expectations needs to be in the second round to come out a little bit more aggressively if you're Edgewood. You cannot allow Boise State to set up as, you know, taking up those really aggressive off angles and kind of going from there. So a return to Forum here. No teleport this time around. Boise State, the only difference, a Junker Queen instead of the Doomfist.
Junker Queen could be great at shutting down the Wrecking Ball as well, right? You get a Jagged Knife on them, you can pull them back to stop any kind of fireball was looking to happen, any kind of mobility that you had. Akanam gets poked. Gonna be able to TP away though this time. Picking off Jabobber is not gonna be so likely, as Clear does deliver the finishing blow there with a little bit of help from Chosen.
That's going to force another switch here as the point gets earned. This is being tough, I think, for Edgewood College. They can't really get in. Even Chosen down to 50 HP. It's so long before they can get an assassination. I don't know necessarily that they're even going to be able to deny this res. Yeah, so that basically undoes all the work that Backingham did, and it was a lot of work to get it. And they're right back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and Jabobbers keeps having to fall back as well to deal with Mattmark, who's really poking and prodding at Sariel. So that kind of split focus is not really able to frontline, and that just leaves Clear free to kind of do whatever they want. Bobbers eats a biotic grenade too. They're going to be demed. They're able to finish them off pretty quickly. Luke goes low, but is able to get healed back up. The same thing went out this far. Dude does find a Mercy on the flank, but it's not going to be enough as Clear continues to just wreak havoc in the Eagles' backline.
Now half the point is done. It's a good hack to take Mattmark out, but that's all it does actually. And with Goblin playing bodyguard on the Resurrect, They're not even able to deny the res. So
Lyric does go down though. So the Eagles need to push in quick, and they need to get the rest of these kills here. They can't allow Boise State to kind of come back in this. Clear's getting close as well to this Rampage, but in the meantime, Goblin with a nano boost finds two. We're going to pick up one. Luke does get rezzed. The opportunity was there, has gone by the wayside. Goblin down though. James with the murder moth able to get one pick there. 90% counting. Luke goes in for a barrage, does find Lyric. They're able to finish them off though. 95%. Somebody's gonna have to touch. I don't think anybody is even close. Rampage looks primed to finish things off. We do have somebody trying to cap things in the back, but there's no supports left for the Eagles. So even if they do get the point, not really a way for them to stay alive. Gonna be a bunch of bobbers left. Luke trying to get back. Ariel swapped over to the Lucio, but a barrage in the sky is gonna just about finish this. Lucio not gonna be able to get the point, and Boise State takes Ilios.
And under only the most technical definitions is that not a 200 to 0. What a strong map from Boise State. The final play of the map here, just kind of sitting in, denying the supports the attempt to get back, and
yeah,
just full control, right? A pretty slow approach overall, I think, from Boise State. It's not like they were playing a very quick style where they were taking a ton of fights, anything like that. They just sort of waited for Edgewood to approach the objective, then reacted in time and kind of just out mechanic their opponent. Even a lot of times we didn't really see that many ult fights, right? Maybe 2 or 3 per round, which is not really expected.
Yeah.
You see them usually go a lot longer, but I mean, Boise State in firm control of this series here. Granted, only map number 1, but nonetheless a dominant showing.
And again, I mean, I think this harkens back to what we talked about on the first Overwatch game here today, and that's that these control maps are very well suited to these high mobility compositions, right? And that's what Edgewood specializes in. And so not being able to take a win on Ilias, and even more so one map, I think it means problems. It means trouble for them as we move into a payload, as we move into hybrid next. So I think they're presented with a similar question to RIT from last time. So where do you go here? I think Paraiso, like we saw then, is a good enough pick as any.
Yeah, I would hope that it's not King's Row, not least because it gets played that much. But I don't think that you really want to play this style into King's Row. Can it work? Yeah, we've seen it happen in the past. I just don't think that with as practiced as teams have become on this map, that it's your best opportunity for success. And keep in mind, winning here puts you into the playoffs like immediately. So dodging the last chance qualifiers is a big pick, and for Boise, looks to be business kind of as usual for them. For Edgewood, maybe trying to change the script, trying to flip things up a little bit is what they kind of have to do. But I think hybrid is probably the toughest situation, and considering how they got iced out on map number 1 with a composition that perhaps you'd argue is the best for that style. Maybe you say they get unlucky on Well, okay. Well, then you have to at least make something happen on Ruins where your Wrecking Ball has time to approach, and they just don't. Boise State shut them down tremendously, and so now this hybrid has to just be a lights out performance from them to keep the series kind of in play.
And we are headed to King's Row, which again, I'm not. You said it too. I'm not sure that's the play, and it didn't have a moment to mention it earlier, but I think another statistic that we have to bring up is just how dominant Boise State is on King's Row, right? Over 100 wins over the last 2 years. They haven't even taken double-digit losses on King's Row. There's hardly a team in any sphere competition that I think has as strong of a chokehold on this map. So to say this is going to be tough for Edgewood is an understatement.
This is, of course, Edgewood's map pick. I like that on top of it all. So taking Boise State here is really a mark of confidence, if nothing else. There
certainly are a lot of approaches you can take here with a Wrecking Ball, right? I'd like to highlight point number 1, right? There's a beautiful kill box kind of built in to that first point. You can take so many different angles, which is, again, what the Wrecking Ball composition wants to do. It's just going to have to be much more coordinated, I think, than we've seen in the past.
Interesting that Boise State has elected to mirror out their opponent throughout, at least here in the first 2 maps. We'll open up the defense here with the Wrecking Ball. Which, to note, Clear did not play on map 1. It was a Doomfist and a Junker Queen here, so this is the 3rd map, or 3rd tank in as many maps. Nice shot.
Ooh. Remains to be seen whether or not Lyric can get the resin. Presumably not in the best of positions if Baganam was able to take them out. Luke fighting Matmerk too. 1 DPS, 1 support down. So the Eagles actually opting over onto this Diva composition. Luke fights chosen as well. This should be the point here for the Eagles. Baganam is going to get killed. Presumably, yep. Or does eventually find them, but this point belongs to the Eagles.
Ooh, that's a nice little booster from Jababras there to deny Goblin the escape. You could see them trying to hit the concussive blast into their spawn. But yeah, well played by the Diva here. And that's going to be enough, I think, to open things up. Yeah, even with Clear doing so much damage, Jababras is able to be kept in mech.
Ooh. This nice sleep. Matmerk does get their way into the hotel. So now Boise State is starting to get positioning here, but Clear has barely any health left at all. And the Goblin trying to get a little bit of damage. Clear actually been healed back up, so the Eagles forced to back away, especially since Jababras got hit with an anti-nade. Matmerk is hacked, but again, not quite enough follow-through from the Eagles. They got 2 ticks, but they're going to need more.
And it moves on to Luke. Ooh. And then countered right back onto Goblin.
2 picks come in, though, for the Eagles with a nice biotic grenade, too, coming out from Chosen. They almost turn things around. The Eagles still in control here. DPS down very low, but you eventually find the picks that they need. The point will be theirs.
Goblin hunting just a little too long for that elimination onto James. It's not like Mercy had too fancy of a footwork either. That was just good old-fashioned. He's chasing down the rockets a little too far behind, and unfortunately that meant that with the DPS chasing away too far, no one was able to keep Clear up. Edgewood get in. That's a really good time bank too for them.
Yeah.
Now they'll be able to play off the EMP here. I mean, a combo, sure, but more importantly, getting 2 pickups would be a good start. This one is unresable, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Full Matrix used. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Wait, is Goblin dead? Yeah.
Yeah, Goblin's going to go down there. Clear does find Baganam, so DPS for DPS. Robert's going to throw in the self-destruct. Not going to find anything, but they do get their mech back. Luke seeing if they can poke Matmerk out from the back line. Finds them with a direct. So the Eagles are actually looking pretty good so far here on King's Row.
Ooh. Lyric elects to go for the barrage. Nice sleep onto Luke, actually.
Yeah, Luke should be dead at this point. Goblin comes in with a barrage. Help finish things off. 3 players remaining here for the Eagles. Only for a moment.
This time Goblin's not going to miss James. Takes him back to spawn. And while all this has been happening, by the way, even though Edgewood won a fight ago, this has been entirely staggered out. And so Boise State has not given up any cart progress. That is now going to be a rough recontest here. Edgewood, the EMP fight was one they needed to win out cleanly. Now they're so far away from anything. I mean, I expect to see the Nano onto Luke again.
Hack is going to come in on the Chosen. Matmerk lets loose with a pulse bomb. Not going to find anything. Yeah, the Nano is there. On the Luke, Jababras finds one. There's not going to be any mercy anywhere to be found. But in the meantime, Clear has a pick. So the back line comes in for 1, but Goblin strikes back. So Boise State maintaining kind of this 1-player advantage here and control of the cart.
Oh, and they get the D-Mac onto.
Ooh.
Well, at least they eliminate Matmerk.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter though. There's that another trade.
Yeah.
And you can see setting up for perhaps a concussive blast to deny the resurrect onto the Diva. Not quite able to. Jabbers will be retrieved. Doesn't save that much time, it must be said.
Yeah. That res utility could be good coming into this next fight. Nanabu's committed. Goblin gonna be the recipient of it. When players go down, here comes a barrage from Goblin. Will land at least one and get the DMAC onto Jabbers. Alright, inches ways a little forward, but the fight win is there for Boise, and that is the biggest point.
Ooh. We were a little risky there, but able to get away. And all this time, this is just another pickup. Boise State have extended this time bank all the way down to 1:15. There is really not much time left here for the Eagles.
Numbers does have the self-destruct. They've got the get out of jail free card, but clear this. Here comes the EMP. Back and I'm going to be able to find Lyric immediately. Goblin falls shortly thereafter. No more aerial threats. They're going to try and turn things around with a pick into the back line. Sariel does go down. In the meantime, Numbers trades out. Economics sleeping. But card in control here by the Eagles. But Boise looks like they might have been trying there for a spawn.
I mean, the map is flipped here, so it's not like Sariel can just get back for free here. They have to walk through their opponent. And that's all with Boise State now going to be pinching them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you only have a self-destruct. It's going to be used early.
Oh, it is going to catch Goblin, though. In the meantime, though, Clear does find Jabbers, and that is arguably the bigger pick, especially considering Valve comes out and the res is in. Mammerk finds one. 14 seconds left to go. Not much left that the Eagles can do. Gonna need to try and leave somebody in a position to come back, but I don't think anybody's even anywhere close. Oh, Jabbers might get there. Oh, they're gonna get caught up. The knife pulls them away.
Dominant defensive round here from Boise State after they gave up that first objective. A little bit of lack of respect, I think, from Boise State early in Kings Row gives them pause, but the recovery absolutely stellar. And the critical difference on Kings Row was those extended skirmishes, the fact that they don't give up map control at any point of the game. And despite technically losing 2 fights, the payload doesn't move forward. And a lot of that can be credited to separate players. It's not like it was all one. At one point it was Clear, at one point it was Matt Merck. Goblin got in on the action in terms of stall. And so Boise State across the board able to just delay the engage of the Edgewood squad. And unfortunately now for Edgewood, they have to complete a hold. They have to deny the second point because that payload did not make it, as far as I think Edgewood would have liked.
No, I think they were so close to third, right? And that would have been fantastic for them. Third point, very difficult to capture, so I think getting any kind of distance in there would have been phenomenal for them. But still, I think they have to be satisfied. I mean, this is a win condition. I think it is certainly within the realm of possibility. But you are going up against the Kings of Kings Row here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Interesting that Clear plays another tank. Okay, it goes back to the... Clear has a bit of an option in terms of shutting down the front line. Has been interesting. Clear has been hitting a ton of those jagged knives, though. That helps a ton in terms of displacement.
Ooh. That Merc sitting there, focusing beam on the Diva. In the meantime, Baganam finds a pick on the Lyric. Will slow down this first push. But that Merc and Clear combined for a pair of kills. The aerial threat is gone now, so Boise State seems to have weathered that storm pretty well. Goblin takes a lot of damage. Jabbers unable to finish them off, though, looking to see if they can find Matt Burke instead, and they do. So it isn't cut and dry. It isn't clear yet. Edgewood is putting up a great fight here.
So one tick tail. That's it. That's the point.
Oh, that's it there. Yeah.
Even with Chosen being harassed, I don't know if they can actually confirm this fight.
We're wasting a lot of time, though. This will be at least a minute, maybe a minute and a half off the clock. Back and Nom actually continuing to do work. They found Matt Merck. This isn't as cut and dry, I don't think, as Boise State wanted to. And winning out that little duel right there, the Eagles coming in with a big hold here.
And even with that hold, though, they still get the DMAC onto Jabbers, who is not going to be able to get back into mech here before this next fight. Boise State trying to slow the game down now. Play into a Pharah here from Goblin. They're off the, sorry, playing off the Widow rather. Nice little stick. Marmor goes down.
Wow. Oh, and Goblin is just deleted. Luca wastes no time eliminating that threat. Lyric falls shortly thereafter. Chosen eats a biotic grenade, and Boise State is sent packing once again.
It's now Boise State's turn to get caught in the chaos a little bit, not walking in as a team. Still 2 minutes left though. Oh, and they've already picked off one support.
They're going to be traded though. Bobbers with the D-Mech. That should be a quick and easy finish though for him. Boise State come away with this first point here on King's Row.
Oh, backing up so weak. And that's just a tough place to be. That's going to be the point.
Yeah.
Just not enough. It's not a lot of presence from the Eagles. Edgewood are kind of being forced into awkward off angles to take fights. And Boise State, even though it's taken them a while to get here, you know, relative to the performance on control, relative to the performance on defense, still had that air of inevitability about it. Now the Eagles, I mean, this first fight is so important. They need to stall time on the checkpoint or on the choke point here. They cannot allow the payload to move through, you know, uncontested.
No, they can't. They need to at least find a way to pull 2 fights out of this, right? Give yourself a little bit of a buffer room. But unfortunately, with Luke going down, that's going to be difficult. Nano Boost now committed onto Jabobbers, but in the meantime, everybody else being picked apart around them by Boise State. So first fight here in Street's going to go their way.
I think that was a near ace for Goblin as well. Cassidy getting all the final blows. I mean, James makes another switch here as the Eagles look to be, I mean, a mirror, maybe. It's, regardless, Edgewood are the one that put resources into that last fight and lost so tremendously. I already catch the, oh, good.
Ooh.
Goblin gets caught,
Nice.
actually. This is a nice big pick. This is final fight.
And Nano Visor coming out now. Aerial gun down immediately. James falls shortly thereafter. Eagles put up a good fight here on King's Row, but Boise State gonna still stand tall with a win here. Make the series a 2-0.
That's match point earned now for Boise State. 1 away from them here. I mean, what more to add? I think the other thing to note too is that this is Boise just continuing to kind of play a very, not even a very aggressive style even, right? Some moments where they have aggression, sure, but in general, it has been a fairly methodical approach in terms of the damage being dealt. And yeah, I mean, this is the map pick of Edgewood. So much they need to catch up on, and really they have no more mistakes. They have no more opportunities. Another map lost, and they're out.
We're gonna have to wait for that final map though. We're gonna send it to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. Welcome back to the action. Here, Overwatch 2 for the Naystar League. We are in the conference championships, and we are on match point for Boise State, the defending champions from the entire fall split, going up against Edgewood, who has been a team that is shown a lot of potential, shown a lot of promise, definitely an up-and-coming squad, but Boise State has certainly been a big roadblock in their way today.
I mean, the performance has been expected from Boise State, right? This is the team, as you know, when you come in as a champion, the weight of expectation is sort of on you. And they've performed, I think, today, right? The 2-0 sort of shows that. Even essentially a 200-0 lockout on control. Their King's Row perhaps a little bit messier, and yet still able to deny the second point. So they've looked good. They've looked good. Now the question is, can Edgewood make an account for themselves, because they are facing down match point. We are headed to escort next, right? The payload map. And the other thing to kind of note is that Boise has beat Edgewood on their own composition at this juncture, right? And so changing things up, I think, may be an option here. It looks like we're headed to Circuit Royale as our next map, but this is a tough place to be. Like, do you have the poke composition? Are you going to continue to run the sniper, or are you going to continue to run the wrecking ball here on Circuit, which has been sort of decided as being a sniper map at this point? These are a lot of questions that I have, and I don't know that there's going to necessarily be answers for it even in this match after the performance that Boise was able to provide on maps 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think this is definitely Edgewood trying to find just a situation where Boise State just doesn't feel as comfortable. But that's going to be tough to do against the championship squad, right? I think being a championship squad means you're going to be comfortable just about anywhere you go. So definitely a poke composition, I think, is what most people would lean towards here. Something with a Sigma, most likely. But the ball can definitely still work. It's difficult, especially when you're looking at that first point, given those very, very long sight lines and, like you said, the propensity for snipers. So there's options here for Edgewood. I'm just not sure they're great, right? But again, I'm not sure where else you go. Dorado, again, that is always one of my favorite places to go if you're looking for a ball composition and to kind of take advantage of that.
Not really any surprises from Boise State. Well, not in terms of their
right
composition. A bit of a role swap, it looks like, at this point of the game. For this map, they're off the tank. We'll go over to support for the first time.
We see Eagles running out.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep playing with the same thing they've always run, this, or try and continue to run what they've opened up with. Might actually end up catching Boise State unaware as Luke comes over the top here.
Bakanam getting a nice flank too. This is exactly what you want to do. This is ball composition. Get everybody set up, ready to pounce. Scout, set up, strike. That's the mantra for any of these wrecking ball compositions. Luke actually kind of staying back pretty far for a while. I think looking to go over top here once they get the cue from Bakanam that they're going in. Big slam from Jabobbers, but take a lot of damage too. Luke is able to find Chosen, but with Jabobbers down, more falls to the rest of the Eagles to do. They will strike back. The one player advantage taken away. It's going to be a 2v2 here, as Chosen is still on their way back, but given just how well Kel can take space on the Sigma, they will hold.
I think Sombra catches the flank again, and this is going to be over the top. Yeah, they're going to catch the Sigma out. Ooh, nice little hack. I don't know this composition is going to be so great at dealing with the far. Is there enough flexibility left in this team to deal with this? Hell over to a Diva now. So, yeah, the tough thing here is that they don't actually get much of a defense on that first sort of skirmish.
Yeah, the Eagles definitely have to be feeling good about this positioning here. Jabobbers takes a lot of damage. Nano has been committed to Luke, but they're pretty far away from the action at this point, so any damage that's coming in, I think, is going to be quickly nullified, especially considering Kel is on the Diva now. There's a barrage in tow, so I think you get the D-Mech here. It's time to strike. They will actually get that D-Mech, but in the meantime, Matt Merck picks off Luke from the sky. Jabobbers falls as well, and the res is in. That's not going to be enough.
Yeah, Luke was just being put right back in the ground.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, Boise State will get the hold.
Ooh.
I mean, you're playing off an EMP at this point for Edgewood. Comes to a skill matchup. You know, can you get into position here without being scouted? Will Lyric have time to use the Transcendence? There is follow-up damage. Ooh.
Wow.
That's a good combo. Matt Merck, I think, was assisted there by Clear. That's Resurrect Fortune so early. And that boop actually ends up helping Matt Merck.
Ooh.
Yeah, no one is going to peek you. No one is going to peek you.
Wishful thinking right there from Matt Mark, but you know what? Gotta go for it, right? Meganom gonna be sent back to spawn. Lurk is able to take him out with a headshot, and Jabobbers is trying to take some space here, right? That could be a great staging point there for the Wrecking Ball on this map, but Matt Merck very aware of it and not giving them any opportunity to kind of hang out there on those stairs.
By the way, we're in final fight. This map has evaporated from Edgewood. 40 seconds left. This is going to be an EMP setup, probably with the minefield. There it is.
Yeah.
It's not enough. They do catch Clear at the very least, but not a guaranteed fight win.
They did throw everything that they had into it. 4 ultimates committed. Matt Merck's still able to find one, though. Cal has been demexed, so they should follow relatively quickly. They are gone, but the res has come in. So, Boise State will be able to recontest here. The Bombers pushing forward to try and make sure that doesn't happen. The hack comes in on the Matt Mark, but they're going to be fine as the support is there. You get a last moment contest. There's a Bob. I believe on point. Chosen has thrown that out. Overtime has been triggered. There it goes down. Nobody able to touch point. Unfortunate for the Eagles. They were so close getting to see second.
Matt Merck just, I mean, the positioning there to play aggressively, get some damage in, force everyone to kind of focus on them and buy attention away from the objective is tremendous. And at this stage now, you're looking at it and Boise State, prime position. I don't know that there is a setup here for Edgewood that they can find a ton of success with, because with such an aggressive composition, their first fight, right, the dive that they took was by all rights should have been a lot cleaner. They got the hack, they got their first elimination. They just can't clean up without trading. And if there's one thing that Boise has done a fantastic job of in this series, it has been trading eliminations when they're losing, to the point where it at best becomes a draw. And then with the defensive advantage, they're able to kind of push the payload in. So and the work is absolutely cut out for Edgewood at this stage, and Boise one round away from moving on.
Because if they do, the Eagles will be sent to the last chance qualifier, so not out of it yet. But it's going to be one more step that they have to take on their way to the grand finals.
3, 2, 1.
Boise State. But now with this diva composition again. Cal doing a little bit of spy checking, as you do. We're back at Nam. Bobber's set up here. Matt Mark going to be able to chase out back at Nam as well.
They actually know
they're
that
be able to...
they're close. That's, yeah. This is now the somber trap. This should be an elimination.
Ooh. Matt Mark going to win that duel, though. And in the meantime, Chosen finds Shariel in the back line. I believe James is already down, too, so Bobber's getting chased away. Discord Orb going to be too much for them to deal with. Chosen does take themselves out, but that's going to be small compensation here for the Eagles.
I mean, the payload is now near the finish line. They won't even touch. The Auber should be able to get there, but
yeah.
Look how aggressive there's the Boise State set up. Look, you have to get through so much damage just to get to the point. Matt Merck sitting in a corner here, looking perhaps for a magnetic grenade.
There's no great place for Jabobbers to set up either here, right? Need to be close enough to kind of get the point as quick as you can. Stall it out for a moment. Up again, trying to provide a little bit of pressure onto Cal, who is dove up to that high ground mortality field. Thrown out by Clear. In the meantime, Matt Merck finds Jabobber. Somebody's going to have to touch. Gonna need to be Luke, who is taken out by another beautiful shot from Matt Merck, and that will be that. The Eagles put up a good fight, but in the end, the reigning champions win again here today in 3-0 fashion.
An absolute dominant 3-0 as well. And giving up 1 point in the entirety of this series. I mean, this is how that dive was kind of denied, right? By Lyric. This is what I was talking about. Those trades coming in again and again.
Ooh. Wow.
And, I mean, that'll do it. Yeah, Boise State. Tremendous performance overall, and they'll continue their march forward, attempting to replicate what they were so easily able to last season.
Yeah, definitely a good step on the way. So, we're going to be setting it to a little bit of a break here. Once again, if we can have enough time for an interview, we will be bringing you one from Boise State. Outside of that, going to be getting ready for our third Overwatch map, 5th overall of the day, and our final one here on the stream. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. Match number 3 is on its way here today. These are the conference championships here at the Daystar League for Overwatch 2. One more game here, and these two teams are going to be vying for victory for Virginia. They are very close geographically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've mentioned this the entire time we've been here in the show, but with that being said, Bryant, Stratton, Virginia, they are on the path trying to make that, you know, the jump. And interestingly, this is the first time we're seeing a team that is not 6-1 versus 7-0 in this kind of setup. A 4-2 scoreline from our second team here. Bryant Stratton, of course, flawless in this one, as we got to look at our teams ahead of us here. Shenandoah, yeah, there's at 4-2. Ryan Stratton, as I said, undefeated. And so interesting looks overall here coming into this one.
Yeah, it will be. And taking a peek at the starting roster, we got Miro, Park Music, Jimical, Set, and Proto for Brian and Stratton. The other side, Shenandoah going to be starting with Dragonblade, Voidex, Kermit the Frog, Fena, and Enders.
We've already seen so many different looks today compositionally from all our teams, right? I think right now we haven't seen any one composition be extremely dominant over the other, right? It does very much feel like it is what you're strong at more than anything else at this stage of the game, right? In terms of what is approachable in the meta. And so, I mean, with that being said, is there going to be a difference of styles here? If there's one thing we've known in collegiate for a while, is that we have seen a lot of teams want to run sort of brawl, right? Meaning that Reinhardt and kind of play around that. But as of the most recent couple of weeks, we've seen a lot more flexibility where teams are not just doing that, but also attempting to run, you know, mobility, whether it be the Wrecking Ball or the Winston. Even the Brawl has different looks. We've seen some Ramattra, we've seen some Reinhardt, but overall it's been a very, very interesting couple of weeks. And even today, that flexibility has come to bear.
It certainly has. We've seen so many different compositions, and a lot of times from the same team, right? I mean, Boise State was certainly an example of that. And looking into these next two teams, though, these are both teams that love to run brawl. So I think maybe that kind of wide variety that we've seen so far today, that's going to stop here, because these two teams, they're going to want to try and duke it out with the Reinhardt.
Indeed, that's what it appears to be as we open up. But the big difference here is that it looks like, well, we're going to see mirrored Junkrats now. I think the manual is going to be on this Metro all the way through. Oh, those are the casting instead. Regardless, that's going to be a difference. Sacred End can really make Miro's life incredibly miserable here. There's that early wall. It doesn't actually bypass anyone. Does give Shenandoah a ton of space, though.
Yeah, they are going to be able to drop to point first, but Manuel able to find an angle on Kermit the Frog, and it is not going to last too terribly long either. Rest of Shenandoah recognizing this fight is over, they're just going to dive in, get killed quickly, reset.
It's unfortunate that first wall doesn't get any further value beyond just buying a little bit of space, right? May really operates around blocking the tank off of that, you know, off the support of the rest of the team, both the damage and the healing, and instead you allow Miro to keep themselves alive. And now that also means that Miro is so very close to that first Earth Shatter.
Ana, though, is going to have Amplification Matrix. Not going to matter, though, because that Shatter does land. It is there with the Immortality Field. Not going to be enough, though, to keep the rest of the team alive. Miro finds another. Brian and Stratton looking good so far here at Control Center.
That's just that lead coming in. Now you'll be able to hold up an aggressive setup. You can see Rota perhaps posturing, looking for an Ant Matrix here. As Shenandoah even try and get in through the gates, but all of this is just buying time. Ooh.
This is going to be a nice wall from Sacred End. Someone neutralizes that Amplification Matrix. Still finding some value, though. Manuel does take out Fena in the back line. Now, Ender's Kermit the Frog trying to back off as well. They do get an exit pick on the Miro, but they should be able to get back into this fight. Dragonblade gonna try and push things, though, a little bit.
I mean, at this stage, it would be ill-advised. Yeah, and Dragonblade charges back to spawn, doesn't even attempt to use their Shatter. That means Miro is going to be able to return. And by the way, this is final fight. You'd have to look to see if your Sacred End, maybe even Dragonblade, try and get a combo here.
Ooh, yeah, Dragonblade does find a pick on the Jimical with a Shatter. Manuel does not Comes up dry. The Deadeye kind of finding Manual 2. Gonna be a bit of an advantage here for Shenandoah. They're gonna need to turn it into a 5-1 relatively quickly, though.
They do win the fight, but they do win the fight, but it is going to be actually, you have to be really careful. If you don't get these exit frags, the Bobcats returning post haste. Kermit the Frog so very weak. Yeah, they don't get the clean eliminations that they'd like, and now Dragonblade in a ton of trouble.
Yeah, the Immortality Field has to be used, and Typical takes out Kermit the Frog, who just got the Riptire of their own. Manual trying to stay alive under the pressure. A freezing beam from Sacred End. They are able to take them out. Point still in control of Shenandoah University, but it will not be for long. And Matrix here from Feyna. Miro not paying it any respect at the moment. Dragonblade finds their demise.
That'll be it.
Way back in favor of Brian Stratton. That'll be theirs.
Even the martyrdom at the end, not enough. And I mean, the Bobcats. The truth is that Shenandoah don't ever isolate the front line from the rest of the team, right? The tank able to survive Miro gets so much value even with that main in play. And I mean, unfortunately for Shenandoah, if you're running this composition, your main needs to be the one to kind of isolate an individual and follow through. At this stage, being able to dodge that much space means that your mid-fight damage is not equal to your opponent's. And with that major cooldown loss, Manual is able to kind of feast with the Cassidy. So Shenandoah absolutely need to find some way to get more damage down range in this second round.
Short of that, they are going to take control of the point first. Car wash has been set up as Sacred End. But Mira going to be in a good position to deal with that, being on the Winston. Right now, just poking and prodding away a little bit of the front line. Forced to back away almost immediately, though. Take a boatload of damage. Oh, Shenandoah University may be able to secure this point first. That's probably going to be able to come in, though. Miro certainly able to jump in if they so desire. But again, being forced away, they turn this corner and just cannot sustain themselves through it.
And actually, Enders, despite all that, into Chaos disappears. Immortality Field forced.
Yeah. Oh, that is a big pick from Set. Brian Stratton College opened that point wide and take it.
Shenandoah University over-aggressed. They think they have space to chase down low members of the Bobcats, but it was a bit of a bait instead. As everyone rushes forward, Miro turns the tables, finds Enders, and it sort of snowballs in the opposite direction. Ryan Stratton and Virginia going to continue moving their way into gaining progress. I expect a Kitsune rush here as Shenandoah attempts to approach.
The pulse swap's going to be a whiff. Here comes the Kitsune rush, too. Bobcats going very aggressive. Kermit the Frog, though, catches out Miro, who, again, has had kind of a tough time staying alive. They've been alive until this point, but they go down very low very frequently. And you will find Zenders. That's going to give potentially a little bit of breathing room here. Nice TP into the back line. Gonna throw down the Shatter. Catches one. Kermit the Frog able to focus down one of the players. Primal Rage out from Miro. Manual in the Chaos. Does find Feyna. But the Primal actually gonna be huge here from Miro. Doozer comes in as well to keep them alive through that focusing game from Kermit the Frog as Brian and Stratton College has flipped the point.
Critically, they keep control of it the whole time, right?
Or yeah, rather.
That's the other thing too. It's just now they're building up that 70% marker, and Shenandoah was spending that fight. That was a good Earth Shadow, but they just can't follow up on those eliminations. And I mean, now you're looking at this. Perhaps you have to kind of just rush it down with the duplicate. There's no strategy involved in this one in terms of you know, a good macro play. There's no kind of set play going here for Shenandoah. They're in crunch time. They kind of just need to find an avenue, an opening, and make it count. There's the duplicate.
That could be a big one right there. Gonna put a lot of pressure really everywhere. If they can find several members to cleave. Getting close to the Primal Rage as well. Gonna get it in the end, but it's not gonna last too long. Here comes the Kitsune rush again from Proto Manual finds Kermit the Frog. You're able to get a pick as well. That should be it. Here for Legion Tower.
Yep.
Ryan Stratton College, Virginia did a great job here on this opening map.
Nice little showcase there from Ryan and Stratton College. And yeah, they'll move up 1-0 here on this series. A lot of that comes down to those skirmish fights where you're able to kind of just keep surviving, keep control of the objective the whole while. And unfortunately for Shenandoah, just not able to convert when they have resources. And keep in mind, it's not like they have resource advantage in many of these fights either. That's the other problem. It's that even as they take these fights, it's a bunch of trades that just never goes in their favor. And I mean, credit to Brian Stratton for making that continue to be an issue, but map number 2 has to be cleaned up pretty heftily if they want to equalize this series, because if the trend of this season of today has kind of continued, 1-0 scoreline can easily turn into 2, can easily turn to 3.
Yeah, the snowball potential is real, and Brian and Stratton College looked phenomenal on Kings, or rather Lee Chalk Tower. It's one or the other, right? Honestly, Kings Row or Lee Chalk Tower, but more importantly, I think, is the fact that we saw them on kind of 2 different looks, right? We saw them on the Brawl. They looked great on Control Center, and they go over to honestly kind of a different form of Brawl, really, with a Winston. I don't know if it'd necessarily be a dive, and they looked fine on that too. So that's already 2 compositions that they're looking very, very good on, and that I think spells trouble here for Shenandoah.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is the bait play they had on the second on Night Market, or on Garden rather, is that, you know, even though they lost control of the point because they didn't have the teleporter to it, playing a corridor and bait the entirety of Shenandoah to try and fight them out in the open where the Symmetra is not of as much success, and then turning it on ahead was impressive, and Shenandoah fell prey to it. You cannot be taking that bait that easily. And as we head to Kings Row, I mean, you need to find a way to chase down stragglers without overplaying your hand.
Well, we'll see if they can do just that. And this is going to be, I think both of these teams have to be happy about Kings Row, right? They both love this Brawl. They both love this rush. I'm anticipating Brian is trying to come back out with a Reinhardt here. But the point that you gave remains, right? We're gonna need to see a change coming out here from Shenandoah University in approach and style in something. I actually do really like what they have done with the Symmetra, right? I think there was a great play into the back line, that TP off of point, kind of behind it, all the way through it, really. And so these are nice creative plays. I love to see them, but they need to find just a little bit more value to keep them in the race here.
Getting a chance to kind of calm before the storm, if you will.
This looks so peaceful on Kings Row right now. Except for that. What is going on here? I mean, that looks terrifying.
Foundry.
3, 5 lightning bolt generators in the Foundry name.
Give me the power for the Omnic side of Kings Row.
Oh, could be. Yeah. I mean, it is an EMP that you deliver, right, to the end, the checkpoint there, which is really kind of brutal if you think about it. Pretty metal, right? EMP to take out all the Omnics. That's rough. That's not good stuff. Kind of dark, actually, when you really think about it.
5, 4.
All right, no surprises here. Bobcats, as they get to the defense, will have the May, include the Cassidy as well. So good mid-range damage, good consistent damage. Interesting that Kermit the Frog over onto the Echo here. A lot of assassination capabilities, but a consistent damage perhaps not as great as with the Cassidy.
It's going to be a nice wall for both sides, honestly, but Manuel going to be the story here. Start things off.
Yeah, manually just being able to... Well, actually, this all starts off with Proto getting a pick off onto their counterpart. Literally healing difference there. It's with how much damage you kind of have to soak with these compositions. Losing your Baptiste that early is a really tough thing to do.
Miro is sitting on just about 80 towards the Shatter as well, and I'm not sure that Shenandoah has tracked that. This could be a pretty big surprise for them as they try to push through. Kind of the back line here. Miro, that Shatter incoming. Imminent, if you will. Bayball goes up, doesn't necessarily isolate anybody. Manuel with a nice shot to cover the Frog, and there is that Shatter. Nobody ready for it. The Matrix is there from Bana, but not gonna matter in the long run or the short run, really.
I mean, getting rid of that matrix is really rough because now Proto has one that's uncontested. And while Dragonblade does have a shatter, you need sort of a similar setup. You need sort of a situation what Miro found themselves in moments ago.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great way to start it here. If Dragonblade can find the shatter.
I don't
Actually,
even
two
think he
picks
needed it
down.
anymore.
Yeah, 2 picks down. Shenandoah should have this here. Primitive Frog does take out Miro, so yeah, Shenandoah is gonna get to bank a lot of these ultimates as we push into streets.
And critically, the Blizzard is the one that they keep. Well, they don't have it, but they'll be able to keep it. Being able to use the Blizzard should be essentially a guaranteed fight win here. Being able to lock down 2 players, I think, would be enough.
Brandon Stratton's gonna get this nice Archers hold too. They're gonna be feeling good about that. They can bait a few of the players out from Shenandoah. No, they're gonna go in. They're just gonna throw the Blizzard in as quickly as they can. Cover the Frog able to take out Manual as they push around the corner, and that Blizzard, the Bobcats, not gonna give them what they wanted. Sacred does use theirs though.
A little bit of it. I wouldn't say necessarily expensive for Shenandoah, but certainly more of an investment. Jimmickle not quite able to get the freeze down. Here's where having that shatter so early comes back to help Miro a little bit. They'll be able to have that as a threat here in this next phase of the King's Row. But I mean, Shenandoah has done a great job of kind of moving the payload. Here, this next fight is more about kind of pressuring Bobcats, kiting away from their ultimates when they execute, and then turning back on ahead.
Ooh.
Oh, that's such a good wall.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that would have almost backed up there. It's unfortunate.
That just buys time. That saves a lot from the Bobcats, especially because it was one that didn't have much used with it.
Yeah, that early pick from Manual really the difference maker there. Just the inability Shenandoah to back up without paying up. Amp Matrix coming out early here for Shenandoah. As Dragonblade gonna have to be aware of this shatter that's incoming, but Cover the Frog goes in. Just the duplicate. Sound Barrier has to be committed to as the shatter does not land. Amp Matrix there from Proto. Shatter this time from Cover the Frog does lay a couple down. The sticky bombs will hit, and Shenandoah gets another fight win.
Being able to get that the Reinhardt, the duplicated Reinhardt specifically, up to that much HP with the sound barrier, being able to let them generate an Earth Shatter, kind of walk in the backline, get both supports out, so big. And actually, they're going to be delaying manually tremendously as well. That's a second point earned here, and Shenandoah really coming alive. Bobcats have been all over the place since that first fight on first point, and have not really sort of cemented themselves since.
We're gonna see a swap coming in from Manual as well. They're gonna go over to the Widow, presumably try to deal with Primitive Frog here, but a Blizzard from Shenandoah gonna make short work of a couple of players. Manual does find Primitive Frog, so they are doing what they need to do. However, the rest of the team is gone.
Good out cycle from Shenandoah. Not too expensive, just the Blizzard. Catches 3, and you take them out, and all of a sudden the Bobcats are forced to the back foot. That's half the third point gone already. That's one fight. In fact, Shenandoah has only really won 2 fights in 2 points, but that has allowed them to get to this stage of the map. So, really well done by them.
Yeah, doing just a beautiful job of kind of maintaining a lot of this pressure. Blizzard, though, from Jimmickle this time around, going to be big enough to get the job done. 2 players fall under shortly thereafter, so certainly going to be a nice breath for the Bobcats.
Just have to dodge damage. It's tough to dodge the Blizzard here when you have the compositions that are going on. Shenandoah going to switch over to a Genji here away from the Echo. This is going to be a tough fight for them. Oh, at Matrix
wow.
in literally the same position.
Nice shatter as well coming out from Miro. And 3 ultimates. Of course, the sight's not necessarily one that you're too concerned about throwing away.
Yeah, looking here, it's about generating time, I think. And get a wall off here. The Ryan that gets walled off first, likely going to be the one that's going to struggle the most. And yeah, that's actually forced to drop theirs is Shenandoah. Bobcats hold a ton of space still.
Oh, wow. Starts into the back line, too, from Dragonblade. They're going to be caught in a difficult position, so Peta has to use the Immortality Field to protect them. You know, it's going to take that down. Shields in the way, though, unable to really get a clear shot. And Peta actually finds Miro, so now Shenandoah University on the charge, on the aggress. Going to be able to find 3. With a minute left to go, the Blizzard comes out from Jimmicle. Bad barriers there, though, from Enders. They're going to be able to sustain through a lot of that. Going to be almost a boop off the map, not quite. But still, Shenandoah University getting the kills that they need. They are down under a minute, though. It's kind of a crucial mark. Comes a blade from Kermit the Frog. Gonna help them. And everything else. The Shatter, knocking several down. Be 42 seconds on the board.
It's a good hold overall for Bobcats. And yet Shenandoah, a good account for themselves. Remember we were talking at the top of the show that being undefeated at this stage of the game really puts you in rarefied air. And to be 4-2 and to be playing it as well as is being done here, I think speaks volumes about the progress that Shenandoah was able to make. Not a guaranteed win for them, but nonetheless an excellent performance here on the offense.
Yeah, their brawl on Kingsrow, I think, has looked a lot better than it did on Control Center. I wouldn't say that it was necessarily bad there, but the Bobcats were definitely very much in control the entire time. So this is surprising. This is a little bit of a switch. And the Bobcats now, can they match this kind of aggression, this kind of offense that Shenandoah put forward?
Well, if Lijiang Tower is anything to go by, I feel like they do have it in them, but defensively just not able to continue the fights going, right? That's the thing that was kind of on top of that their bluff was called in a lot of these situations where Bobcats tried to aggress, then sort of retreat as they did on Garden on Lijiang Tower. Here, they just weren't able to do so. Shenandoah punished them before they were able to hit the second phase of their strategic execute. And when your strategy has been, unraveled like that, then I mean, it's tough. It really is tough. But Shenandoah, a good read, and now have an opportunity in this map at the very least.
No major changes coming out. Manual is going to be on the Hanzo, though. It's going to be a significant amount of damage that can go into Reinhardt's shield. And Manual, actually, I love this position and they've taken. It's allowed them to really open things up here and make very short work of this first point.
That's all about pressure, though. That's finding space on the map and just walking at your opponent, threatening them, trying to, can you respond to this? And I don't know that Shenandoah was expecting that level of aggression right off the rip.
That's going to be almost 6 minutes in the bank there. Hard to cap that point any quicker than we just saw from Brian Stratton.
Not a ton available. Miro again leaving the Reinhardts in Earth Shatter charge, though.
Yeah, just about doubling. That's going to be a nice wall, though, from Sacred End. Annual takes out a couple blocks for here to try and get back. In the meantime, Jimmicle does find Enders. His Fire Strike to end 1. 2-player advantage, make it 1. Upcat's going to have to work a little bit harder. Immortality Field comes up. Again, the pressure being put on here by Brian and Stratton is tremendous.
Miro using the Shatter there to guarantee the elimination of Jimmicle. I mean, they're on the ground. You're not missing those. So it's a good read there, recognizing you have the advantage. Now, actually, the big thing here is Dragonblade has to really get a good Shatter, because if they don't, Jimmicle's Blizzard will win this fight. There's nothing here to deny it. The sound barrier is not even close to being ready. Yeah, they're not even gonna get an opportunity to use the Earth Shatter.
No, they're not. With Kermit the Frog getting caught out, that's one potential win condition out the window. Dragon Strike coming in to try and negate this amplification matrix. Dragonblade goes in, does find a Shatter.
No one can follow up, though. That was a good wall by Jimmicle.
Yeah, now Sacred End does have their Blizzard. They throw it out, but I think it actually, it got canceled. during the animation. So things have gone from bad to worse here for Shenandoah University. They do commit the sound barrier, though, to try and burn off as much time as they can here. Dragon Blade does fall in the end anyway, but at least Gimmer the Frog will have a blade for the next fight. But things are looking dicey here for Shenandoah.
5:15 is what they're working with here. Keep in mind that Shenandoah will always get another chance to attack, but time bank is not looking too healthy right now, the difference anyway. And they only have the blade. They only have the blade. Miro, I mean, the immortality field will buy enough time, and then you kind of expect maybe a shatter or just the ant matrix.
And here comes the blade. They are going to be able to fight Proto. That's who you needed to take out first. Akisen finds Miro, so no shatter. Trying to deny the blade. In fact, the shatter was thrown out. That's one big tool.
Really clean blade by Kermit the Frog. Just straight up a good blade. Actually saves the economy of Shenandoah. It allows the Dragon Blade to get close. It allows Feina to get close. Just have to survive this blizzard. That's really all Shenandoah have to do.
Ooh. A nice wall there. Doesn't quite cut off Dragon Blade, though, who does have the shatter ready to go. The Flog in the back line. Shatter ready to go. Nice Dragon Strike, though, from Manuel. Is able to find Feina. Now Manuel going to be free to put in as much damage as they want. The card stopped, but only momentarily.
They didn't even have to use the blizzard, which is the big one. Because now as you try and approach the point, you're walking into a crowd control ability that removes all your mobility. And you're expecting sort of Dragon Blade to have to be a difference maker here.
Both Blizzards going to be committed to this fight. They both land. Oh, the Reinhardt's frozen. This is going to be Dragon Blade, who does not survive, though. Amplification Matrix and Immortality Field there from Proto. That might have been the difference maker in that one.
100%.
Now, nobody left to contest. This point should be over.
Yeah, 100% the difference there is the Ant Matrix. The healing throughput coupled, as you highlighted, with the Immortality Field to buy time. And the Venn diagram of death ends up being in favor of Ryan Strand College, Virginia. Now, the thing is, the Shenandoah squad gets 1 minute to attack the objective, right? They have 1 minute to attack the thing. Any progress they make is going to have to be, I mean, ideally at least the point, because with 3:26, considering was first fight, the Bobcats weren't really stymied at all, right? They didn't really get forced back at any stages on their attacking half. And I mean, that means that Shenandoah, they need to find as much progress as they can earn.
They're gonna need to find their own Venn diagram of death, or dig deep into the murder math bag, I suppose. As we get set for the next round. 1 minute on the time bank for Shenandoah, about 3.5, I think, for the Bobcats here. Yeah, a little bit over. So yeah, this hold's gonna need to be pretty big from Shenandoah. Of course, they're gonna be the ones on attack first.
If there are any changes here from Shenandoah, or if the strategy remains the same.
5, 4, 3,
Sacred End hovering on the Hanzo here at this stage. Actually, this is tough. Dragon Blade has so much, is going to struggle so much. They do know where the Mei is because of that Sonic Arrow, but knowing where they are and avoiding it is two entirely different things. They do find Proto though, and that's a good start.
It certainly is. They might, Bobcats might actually elect to give away a couple of picks here. They do get a pick on Emmanuel and Miro though too, so looks like they're gonna be, they're gonna have to give away that and more.
That was a big pickup, right? Sacred End, getting that headshot from afar. There's no healing. And it doesn't really matter that you weren't able to recognize. It doesn't matter that you're able to wall off the Reinhardt if you don't have the follow-up damage. And unfortunately for the Bobcats, losing your support on top of that just makes it even more likely that you're going to have troubles getting forward and following up, denying damage. So Sacred End wins that fight almost single-handedly.
I feel like it was the Hanzo who kind of broke that point open for both squads, right? The last few times we've seen rounds 2 and 3, I suppose. Bobcat's going to force this pretty early here in Arches. That's going to be a nice Maywall, too, to try and Section off Dragon Blade. The Immortality Field is there, though. Both of them down now. We are in OT, so everybody has to stay on point. Shenandoah has the Shatter ready to go. Dragon Blade lets loose with it, but it's not going to find anyone. That shield's going low, as is their health. Amplification Matrix now out from Feyna. Bobcat's going to respect that. Back up just a little bit as Dragon Strike comes through as well. You're able to get out of the way of it. Manual's Dragon Strike, however, going to do a lot more damage. They get 3 picks off the back of that to stop the cart at the arch.
The fact that Miro blocks that Shatter wins this round for the Bobcats, no doubt about it. Not having the Shatter, not having the follow up to on the player's knockdown means there's enough space for the entirety of the Bobcats to kite away from the upcoming damage of the Ant Matrix. They're able to play around the corner. It allows them to kite away from the Dragon Strike, as we saw, and then puts them in a kill box where, manually is able to just send a dragon down mid, and you cannot avoid it because you have to stand on the objective. So literally all set up by Miro blocking Dragon Blade X, and in all honesty, a fight and perhaps a map winning performance in that individual moment.
Because at this point, Shenandoah needs they need a hold on first, right? The cart was stopped so quickly after it got out of the garage that, I mean, anything short, I think, of a full hold here is going to spell disaster for Shenandoah University. I mean, maybe if they lose first, and if they get a fast reset, they can contest, but it's going to be tough.
No, if they lose first, the map is over. The cart is in that archway. You need to hold here, and not having the Mei is even more strange as a result, right? The ability to stall is limited without that wall to just buy space. So it's a very greedy composition here, and it requires a lot on Sacred End and Kermit the Frog syncing up, getting eliminations.
Oh, and that Mayball is going to catch Dragon Blade out. Mirror, though, actually taking a whole lot of damage. They're going to be forced back, and the Immortality Field is out now. A little bit of an advantage here, but Kermit the Frog down. That's the floodgates wide open. Beta falls next. Manually doing a phenomenal job. Finds a third onto Dragon Blade. Make it 4. Can they get the 5K? Looking for it, but I think Lucio has gotten away.
It's gonna be, a recontest, a token one. I don't think you can contest. Yeah, I don't think you can get onto the point though. And so with the payload unlocked, it's gonna naturally move through the archway, and the golden box of victory is in the choke point. And there's still 2.5 minutes left. Bobcats have so many resources coming up, and all they really have to do is play for the Blizzard, and even then. There's nowhere to go. If it's laid down just beyond this golden box of victory, you're over and done with.
You got the Amplification Matrix out as well, so one fire strike through that could cut down your opponents pretty quickly and efficiently. It's going to be a nice Dragon Strike. Difficult going to get 3 right here. 4. Got their own 4K. There's the 5K. And the Bobcats take a 2-0 lead here over Shenandoah University.
And just a situation where a compositional difference kind of steps up, right? Miro wins a fight for their squad on the defense, and then the Mei comes in clutch at the end when the fight on the offense to take the map, put themselves at match point. Brian Stratton one map away from completing the shutout here and moving on to the playoffs bracket.
Well, we are going to take a short break and give the players a chance to grab some water, stretch their fingers, and get up and dance around a little bit, whatever they need to do before we get back into this game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. do or die time for Shenandoah University. There's no more room for error as they try and take on the juggernauts that are Bryan and Stratton College. We're headed to map number 3 here, LaFon. And so far, Bryan and Stratton has looked phenomenal here so far. See some good stuff from Shenandoah, right? The brawl definitely a big step up from what we saw on Control Center.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the closest match, though, if we kind of consider with what King Zero was able to provide. But even still, it's still a 2-0, and that means that now there's only one chance left for Shenandoah. There's, you know, on a knife's edge. We are headed to Circuit Royale, as you can see there on the lower third of your screen, and this is not a I'm not really surprised we're going here, considering what these teams like to run. Very little dive has been shown by, in fact, none at all has been shown by by Shenandoah, and that means that Junkertown probably not a great look, considering that if you want to get off of poke, you probably want to go dive rather than rush. And Circuit Royale, kind of the opposite, right? Even as you probably want to stay poke all the way through, it's the map that has the most the map that probably has the most reason to go to rush if things kind of go wrong in your sniper composition. So yeah, it makes sense that we're going here. And I mean, hey, final opportunity, right?
Final opportunity, and I'm wondering as well if again, anytime you go to Circuit Royale, right, especially after Lijiang and King's Row, my mind goes to poke, right? Is that what we're gonna see? As Shenandoah said, okay, we're losing the brawl mirror, even though we're doing a good job, right? It's looking better, it's looking good. They still might need something a little bit different here, and that is certainly what Circuit Royale can provide.
A chance to kind of slow down the pace of gameplay as well. I don't think the game has actually been that fast all the way throughout. It has to be highlighted. Right? Sometimes when you see brawl compositions, you see teams like to take a lot of fights, but it hasn't really been the case here. Indeed, it has been mostly buying time than anything else, waiting for your opportunity to strike, and when required, it has been Bryan Stratton who's gotten the more value from that.
Also been kind of some interesting compositional choices, I think, coming out from Shenandoah, right? Like having Kermit Frog on the Genji.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be highlighted as well. It is going to be a poke battle. Big notable difference is the support line and one of the DPS. Of course, we do see a Widow for both sides.
Oh wow, Shenandoah give no time at all before they switch over to mobility.
Yeah. Oof.
And quickly put in the ground. I mean, it's tough, right? Into a Sigma shield, playing a sniper v sniper, you have Manuel is going to have the upper hand unless you can break the shield. Even with Miro taking such an aggressive angle.
Gives the dive in though. It's going to be shut down pretty quickly. Nice accretion there from Miro. Take a look at the end of that. Emmanuel once again winning that sniper duel. So this has all of the makings of a pretty strong hold here from the Bobcat.
Very aggressive setup here from Bobcats. You don't often see Widows play here.
Yeah.
We have seen spawn holds on Circuit Royale, you know, in the Junker Queen meta, but we're a long way away from that, thankfully. Teams tend to be a little relatively passive, but Bobcats have been given space and they're willing to take it.
I mean, given that Mira's going to want to kite back on the Sigma anyway, not necessarily a bad thing. We're holding strong to this corner pretty well, though. That's giving a lot of room for Manuel to work, too. So we've seen them pushing up even farther. Potentially a little greedy, but if Bobcats can hold on to it, or power to them.
There's no true sniper on the opposite end anymore, right? So
yeah.
Where do
those go down?
Yeah, this is a little bit tough. And no supports at all means that any damage is now permanent.
Yeah, Miro does get an exit pick, but that's going to be all. And in fact, this could be a pretty brutal stagger if they're able to get it. Yeah, Miro did. Miro, I think, just needed to die there a lot quicker.
Not ults available here to Bobcats, though. They will get a contest.
No one can
It's more about the payload moving farther forward. Anything else? I mean, you're looking here. Here's the thing, right? You're looking at a nanoed Winston kind of coming in. Question is, do you take it 4v5 or do you try and wait? Manually gets a nice pickup in the back line. It looks like they kind of want to take this fight rather than wait. They end up punishing them, actually.
Yeah, I felt that Fena was going to commit that nano at any moment, given how aggressively Dragonblade was going in. And I think with that nano, they survive and then get the primal. And this fight could have looked a lot different, LaFon.
Yeah. And now the payload is in inaccessible territory. The Bobcats have so much room to work with. Perhaps a little too much room. As manually is okay for now, but definitely giving the supports a little bit of a workout.
Oh wow, Dragonblade takes so much damage, still decides to dive in.
Even with
a
nano, evaporated. That was a really good accretion by Miro.
Yeah. Nice pulse bomb there from Kermit to Frog, but manually it just continues to light up the kill feed.
40 seconds left. Shen and Doan are unfortunately going to be forced to kind of dump everything here, which should give them the point, but also has the downside of meaning that they're going to get stuck on second pretty badly.
They still have to get through this Transcendence, though, from set. Right? Something's going to need to pull that out so that whatever comes afterwards can kind of land. And speaking of landing, that shot from Manual. Think of beauty. We have Dragonblade in the back line. Primal Rage has been committed. Typical does fall, but they get one more before they're taken out. Dragonblade with just a sliver of health again, and that Discord orb creating so much problem. Just one player remaining on point, and Shenandoah moved to the point. Not too terribly far. Last moment contested here from Kermit the Frog. Gonna be able to dash back in for one more. That's gonna be it, though. Nice hold here from the Bobcats.
Now the Bobcats only have to capture first point effectively to get their 3-0, completing the day as the trend continues. But I mean, that recovery from the Bobcats on that alt bank, I mean, the Transcendence really should never get that much value. Against 3 ultimates, it shuts down all 3. That is a tremendous layering by Shenandoah. And I mean, a lot of credit to recognize that if you are Bobcats to take it away. So yeah, identifying your opponent overstaying or over committing to an engagement. And it ends up punishing Shenandoah.
Yeah, so this hold is going to have to be a tremendous from them, and I think some more consideration needs to be paid to kind of the character selection here, right? I think they need to go for sustain in some way, shape, or form, right? Because I don't think the Genji necessarily worked out on King's Row. On defense, on attack, fine, I'm okay with it, but on the defense, it just didn't really provide what they needed. So we're gonna get a poke composition coming down here from Shenandoah.
They will be able to slow the game down, which is important to kind of run the clock out. But the problem is that because they didn't really gain as much progress as they arguably should have, one lost fight can really put them in like the danger territory here.
Ooh.
And the shield break advantage is in the Bobcat's hand with Jimmicle on this Hanzo. Even with manually down, they're still pushing forward, right?
Yeah, that's not going to really take a whole lot of pressure off the front line. And that Discord orb on a Dragonblade definitely going to be, or rather onto Miro, it's going to be problematic, but I'm dealing with it pretty well at the moment.
Miro's doing a ton of damage, but seems okay for the moment. No, that's overstaying your welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a Discord orb and a railgun, that is over aggressive. Kind of have to think that Miro maybe switches off. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that definitely makes more sense. That's going to be a nice accretion, too, to take out Jimmicle. So far, so good, honestly, here for Shenandoah University.
Yeah, a minute wasted, but sometimes you just got to get in the line of sight of a player. And that headshot will take things apart. Shenandoah, the tank's all of a sudden so much more open to work.
This is interesting as well. We're going to see Ender swap over to Lucio, presumably to get back quickly, but not having that Discord orb, I think, is going to hurt them more than anything. You're finding a pick on the Dragon Blade. This card is getting close to completion here. Kandua University needs to regroup in a major way, but they're not going to be allowed to as Beta falls. Kermit the Frog does find Set. Tinkerden coming back in with another pick too, but Kermit the Frog is gone. We're able to get a couple through the amplification matrix as well. Moments away from victory is Bryan and Stratton College, Virginia. They are going to be able to take this in 3-0 fashion. They're not going to be able to get there in time, you believe, to stall. Oh, take that back. They do touch the point, but that's going to be it. The Bobcats move on, punch their ticket out of the last chance qualifiers, and send Shenandoah to see it instead.
Certainly some moments of execution from Shenandoah. Tragically not able to actually convert that into a fight win or map win even. And I'll take the 0-3 loss, as you say there. What a performance by the Bobcats here overall in their progress forward. They continue to stay undefeated as well. So every team that won out today has kept their flawless streak, and they'll move to the playoffs to continue to see who can climb that peak, provide themselves the best team in the NACE Star League.
That is going to do it for our games today. But the last chance qualifier, I mean, that's coming next year for Overwatch, and that is certainly going to be very, very exciting. Actually, do we have one more day of conference championships? That might be on Sunday. At least know that next week you're gonna have 2 days for the last chance qualifiers. So that's going to be very exciting. A lot of good teams down there this time around. But certainly, I think that the teams that have proved themselves, like you said, these 7-0 teams, is certainly the ones to watch out for, and definitely the ones I think destined to make the biggest dive into the playoff bracket as we get set for it in just a little while, in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, so many interesting storylines overall too, right? Teams showing a different look in the meta, teams peaking at the right time. And to add to that, I think this has been beyond just what we normally expect in collegiate. The elevation of gameplay has continued, and so there have been some pretty fantastic games, and they likely only get better from here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of 3-0s today. I think that is, though, to be expected somewhat with these conference championships, because there is honestly a lot of difference sometimes between those number 1 and number 2 teams. And now, I mean, the competition just going to get tighter and tighter, and excited to see how these teams just continue to evolve, because now a lot of them, so many of them been on stream, right? They can kind of take notes from each other, see what they want to do, how they want to take things as they move forward in the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we return, an interview, but for now, we'll wait till then, and we'll see you in a bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the broadcast. We've got Miro here with us from Bryan Stratton College, Virginia. First off, before we say anything else, congratulations. Punching your ticket out of last chance qualifiers and straight into the playoff bracket.
Thank you.
Now, I want to talk to you about what's coming up next for you. What are your expectations moving through the playoff bracket, the rest of the tournament? Are there any teams that you're especially excited to see? Any ones you're looking out for? How do you feel? What are your next steps?
Well, we're not really looking out for any teams. We're just trying to put ourselves stronger and improve on stacking others. Like, we play Ryan comp, we need to get better at Ryan comp and just move together as a team and synergy.
Fair enough. Now, before you get into the playoffs, right, there is still the regular season that just happened. Give me a quick kind of recap of the highlights for your team over the last 7 weeks or so.
It's been kind of tough, at least for me, because I play multiple games. Like, I play Valorant and Overwatch, and some of my teammates play both games too. So it's like kind of hard to give both games our all. So we're like working through that, and as the meta shifts from new seasons, and it's like we're all trying to put that all together and build up together.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure watching you all here today. And one thing that you mentioned is these Reinhardt compositions, right? These Brawl compositions that you really like. We saw a good one coming out with the Sigma too, so nice poke composition. How does your die feel moving into the tournament or into the playoffs? Because I feel like a lot of the teams that make it the farthest and that show up the best really have a good handle on a lot of these compositions. Do you think you could put your dive up against some of the other squads that we've seen here today or that we're going to see in the future?
I definitely think we can. Like, I feel confident in my Winston, and I know both my DPS players, like Jimical, Solid, and Tracer, manually one of the best hit skins to play the game. I feel like that's in collegiate. And my support line's good, so I feel like we can definitely stack up against them.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming in for the interview. Before I let you go, just one final question from me. Would you like to give any shout outs to friends, family, teammates, whoever you'd like?
Shout out my coach, shout out Bryan Stratton, shout out all my teammates, my parents helped me get here, my girlfriend, and my best friend Jay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miro. Thank you so much, Miro. Again, congratulations to you and the rest of the squad, and best of luck to you during the playoffs.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
You as well. All right, LaFon, that's going to do it for this afternoon. If you've enjoyed the broadcast today, be sure to follow all the socials for Naystar League. For myself and LaFon, our Twitters are right below us. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And don't worry, there's going to be a lot more Naystar League coming your way over lots of different titles over the next few weeks as we get into the playoffs. GG's, and see you next time.